Chapter 2098. Bang! Long Yuan's dragon head smashed into the wall. The sturdy wall knocked Long Yuan unconscious. Long Yuan's long body stuck to the wall for a long time before the impact dissipated. Long Yuan slumped to the corner of the wall and stopped moving. This time, the wall of the Dragon Palace finally changed. It was stained with blood. The blood from Long Yuan's tail formed a glaring, scarlet picture on the snow-white wall. That was close. I nearly pierced a hole in my house. Yang Chen's soliloquy after receiving the sword chi passed to the ears of several dragon clan masters, which almost made them fall directly from their chairs. Yang Chen did not care about Shi Shanshan piercing a dragon race expert. Instead, he cared about the fact that his house's wall was nearly pierced. Weren't these just a few dragon palaces? Could it be that even with so many dragon race experts around, they still could not mend the hole? However, Yang Chen's attitude was very infuriating. Moreover, they were guests in his house and had a request to make. It was not good for them to flare up. Just as they thought of this, the hearts of the Dragon Clan experts suddenly shook. Since they were here to make a request, their attitude towards their master, Yang Chen, did not seem to be the appropriate way to make a request. When did the high and mighty dragon race ever consider the thoughts of the ant-like human and demon cultivators? When Ao Lan brought them over, they only reluctantly agreed on account of Ao Lan, a member of the royal clan. If it was someone else, even if it was Ao Lai, who also had royal blood, who suggested this, they probably would not even bother with it. Because they all had such thoughts, Long Yuan took the opportunity to flare up. However, everything that happened here shocked them. Long Yuan was a peak Xian immortal expert, but he fell at the hands of Yang Chen's people time and time again. Lin Jingyuan might look like a fool, but when he exploded, the aura of a golden immortal couldn't be concealed at all. Even if Long Yuan could not sense it, the others were all golden immortal experts. Naturally, they were well aware of it. The fact that there was a golden immortal expert guarding Yang Chen's place had absolutely shocked the experts of the dragon race. However, Long Yuan's defeat at the hands of a golden immortal expert was not unjust at all. It was not enough to make them lose their composure. But then, Yang Chen's sworn brother appeared. Although he was only at the heavenly immortal stage, he was even more monstrous than Lin Jingyuan, who was at the golden immortal stage. Li Cheng's aura was that of a celestial immortal expert. When he attacked, he also used the power of a celestial immortal. His speed was not ridiculously fast, but Long Yuan just couldn't handle it. He was sent flying by a single slap. It looked like Long Yuan had suffered great humiliation, but the dragon race experts had no choice but to accept it. That was because they had been lenient. Seeing how relaxed Li Cheng was, if he wanted to take Long Yuan's life, one strike would be enough. If Li Cheng's cultivation was at the heaven immortal stage, they could barely accept the fact that he had defeated Long Yuan. But when Shi Shanshan, an Earth Immortal Junior, pierced Long Yuan's dragon tail with a sword chi, it was not something that they could suddenly believe. As members of the dragon race, everyone was very clear about the strength of their bones and flesh. It was not something that ordinary magic treasures could casually hurt. But Shi Shanshan, an Earth Immortal Junior, actually managed to kill Long Yuan with a single strike. How was this possible? Was this something that an Earth Immortal ant that they could blow away with a casual sneeze could do? Just now, there was not much aura erupting from the sword chi. How could it have such terrifying power? But this was not the end. Shi Shanshan, an Earth Immortal Junior, had already shocked them. But when Yang Chen made his move, it brought them more than just shock. The immovable mountain technique was a secret technique of the dragon race. Almost every member of the dragon race knew about it. Especially these old monsters who had lived for God knows how many years, they were even more proficient in this technique. Just now, Long Yuan had secretly executed the immovable mountain technique, wanting to firmly pin his body to the spot where he was standing. However, Yang Chen had only casually pulled Long Yuan's body and flung him far away. Long Yuan crashed into the wall and fainted. The most horrifying thing was that when Yang Chun pulled Long Yuan away, he actually did not use any spiritual energy. Different levels of cultivation would result in different effects when using the immovable mountain technique. But even so, the few experts of the dragon race believed that after Long Yuan executed the immovable mountain technique, his body weight would at least be as heavy as an ocean. Even though the Dragon Clan experts were able to pull Long Yuan up by relying on their powerful cultivation bases, it wasn't easy for them to pull him up after he used the immovable mountain technique. The most crucial thing was that Yang Chen did not use any spiritual energy. That was to say, he had already reached that kind of despair-inducing level just by relying on the strength of his physical body. Was this something that a mere Earth immortal ant could do? Was it imaginable? If they had not seen it with their own eyes, even if Ao Lan had told them about it, they would not have believed that such a ridiculous thing could happen in this world. Could it be that everyone in Yang Chen's family was this kind of demonic monster? Long Yuan did not lose consciousness for long before he woke up due to the dual effects of his strong body and overflowing spiritual energy. The moment he regained consciousness, the intense pain in his tail caused him immense pain. He quickly circulated his spiritual energy to try to stop the bleeding and recover. However, for some reason, a formless sword chi seemed to be lingering around his wound. No matter how hard he tried, he could not get rid of it. His wound also bled non-stop, unable to recover. In the end, Yang Chen could not stand it any longer. He walked over and pulled Long Yuan up. Then, he wiped the wound on Long Yuan's tail and the lingering sword chi disappeared without a trace. My wife has been rude. I hope that Senior can be magnanimous enough to forgive her. Yang Chen sincerely apologized to Long Yuan on behalf of Shi Shanshan. No matter what, he was originally a guest, but he was injured by his own woman. As the host, he felt a little embarrassed. However, Yang Chen could not let Shi Shanshan apologize to him, so he could only do it himself. While speaking, Yang Chen had already given a 6 revolutions merit Ganoderma jade pill, which was also a gift of apology. In Long Yuan's ears, Yang Chen's apology was like a huge slap to his face, slapping him back and forth until his nose and face swelled up. He had never thought that he would lose so much face in front of Yang Chen, not to mention repeatedly. However, no one could blame Long Yuan. Blame Ao Lan for not being clear? Before they came, Ao Lan had already reminded them that they could not treat Yang Chen's family lightly. After all, Ao Lan was of the same generation as Yang Chen. Blame Yang Chen? The other party didn't provoke him at all. It was because of his incessant provocation that the other party retaliated a little. Blame Li Cheng? There was no way he could blame Li Cheng. As for Shi Shanshan, Xiao Chun had scolded her husband in her own home. Could she not flare up? If he wanted to blame someone, he could only blame himself for being blind. Chapter 2099. Long Yuan was a proud dragon race cultivator. However, he was not a fool. After a few consecutive blows, if he still did not realize that his previous thinking was wrong, then he would really be an idiot. I was in the wrong previously. Now I apologize to you. Long Yuan was someone who could pick up and let go. Since he was the one in the wrong, he would not stubbornly endure it. Moreover, apologizing to an expert who was stronger than him was not a shameful thing. On this point, this fellow was rather simple-minded. Otherwise, the other dragon race cultivators would not have pushed him out to make things difficult for Yang Chen. Princess, this matter is my, Long Yuan's, fault. I should not have doubted Princess's words. Princess, please punish me. After apologizing to Yang Chen, Long Yuan immediately turned to Ao Lan and admitted his mistake. Ao Lan only nodded at Long Yuan's apology. Then, she stretched out her hand and took the 6 revolution beneficent Ganoderma jade dew pill from Yang Chen. You have to be punished for your mistakes. This medicinal pill belongs to me. As long as the remnant sword chi was removed from the wound on Long Yuan's tail, given Long Yuan's abilities, he would be able to recover quickly. There was indeed no need for a medicinal pill. However, Aolan brazenly snatched the medicinal pill from Long Yuan's hands. Anyone with a brain would understand that this was no ordinary medicinal pill. Now Long Yuan didn't know how much he regretted offending Yang Chen and losing such a medicinal pill that could make the princess happy. If he had known that Princess Aolan was not lying, he would not have made such a fuss. Of the 6 dragon race experts, Long Yuan's cultivation was the lowest. Even if he offended Yang Chen, he would not lose the opportunity to deal with the other 5. Those 5 experts understood all this long ago. Hence, they remained seated and did not move, letting Long Yuan do as he pleased. Long Yuan returned in low spirits, beaten up miserably. While the remaining 5 were shocked, they did not show any expression on their faces. After all, they were not the ones who stood out. Even if they had looked down on Long Yuan in the past, they knew how to treat Yang Chen's family after seeing Long Yuan's miserable experience. Now, do you still have any concerns? Aolan asked unhurriedly after Yang Chen's side suppressed everyone. We do not dare. The 6 dragon race experts no longer dared to make things difficult for Aolan. They quickly stood up and bowed. Since that is the case, we came to their place to disturb them. We have to act like guests. Aolan instructed unhurriedly. In my opinion, the standards of the 5-element dragon palaces are uneven. Just help me out and balance them out. Just help. As for standards, follow the water dragon palace. We obey, princess. No one objected, including Aolan. If Aolan had given such instructions from the start, the dragon race experts would not. The dragon cultivators, dragon race experts? Not taking back the dragon palace and the dragon clan's dharma treasures was already showing mercy. How dare they ask for more? Dragon, Ao Shao, clan cultivators, dragon race experts, they were, dragon, they not, they were, they would, they Ao. Long A. Since he was asking for help, he naturally had to have the attitude of asking for help. At the start, they had not prepared any greeting gift. Now that Aolan gave the order, they naturally had to find a way out of this embarrassing situation. As for you, Long Yuan. Aolan scrutinized Long Yuan. Long Yuan stood very obediently, not daring to move at all. This satisfied Aolan. Only then did she say, "In that case, I will punish you by leaving behind some dragon essence for all these years as an apology." "Yes, Your Highness." Long Yuan didn't dare to disobey and answered loudly. After giving these instructions, Aolan turned to Yang Chen and asked, "Little brother, is this punishment all right?" "Sure." Yang Chen smiled and said, "Big sister, you can say whatever you want." Although Aolan had used him to make the dragon race experts incredibly obedient, Yang Chen still felt very happy. The 5 elements dragon palace's varying standards was also a hidden danger. Although everyone's cultivation did not matter now, when they reached the immortal world, the balance of the dragon palace would be broken. There would be a huge difference in everyone's cultivation and advancement. Yang Chen liked to be impartial. He could not let any of his women suffer. In that case, he had to resolve the balance of the dragon palace. Now that big sister Aolan used this opportunity to resolve this problem for him, naturally, Yang Chen was happy. The dragon race experts were also unlucky. Before they could enjoy the tempering of Sun Qingshue's Jade Dragon entangling the blood-devouring demonic vines, they had to pay the price first, helping Yang Chen refine the 5 elements dragon palace. Although it was reasonable for them to pay for this, they still felt that they went for wool and came home shorn. Of the 5 elements dragon palaces, the Water Dragon Palace was the treasure trove that the Eastern Sea Dragon King, Ao Guang, left behind in the mortal world. Its standards were much higher than the other dragon palaces. In order to maintain a balance, these 6 dragon race experts would have to spend at least 100 years to refine it. The 6 dragon race experts obediently went to work. Only then did Yang Chen introduce Aolan and Aolai to Li Qing again. This time, when they sat down, the atmosphere was different. Unexpectedly, you still have such a trump card. Aolan sighed. She knew of Lin Jingyuan's existence. However, she did not expect Li Qing to be so horrifying as well. As for Shi Shanshan, she could not see through him. Fortunately, Shi Shanshan only appeared to be powerful in terms of magic treasures. Furthermore, she was not proficient in controlling them, so it was not enough to shock Aolan. Big sister, you are very scheming. Yang Chen smiled and exposed Aolan's big sister's plan. You are relying on your subordinates to beat up the disobedient clansmen. Wouldn't it be better for you to do it yourself? After all, doing it myself would hurt the harmony between us. Furthermore, we would end up with the reputation of bullying the weak. Aolan shook her head and said, It is rather good now. The effects of you doing it are 10,000 times better than mine. Big sister, the benefits that you promised couldn't be just balancing the divine dragon palace and leaving behind some dragon essence, right? Yang Chen smiled as he asked Aolan for benefits. This is the price for them using the little snow jade dragon to tangle up the blood-devouring demonic vines. Big sister, where are the benefits that you promised? Just ask what you want. Aolan rolled her eyes and said to Yang Chen, In any case, I will owe you a favor later. In your words, when there are too many lice, one will not bite them. When there are too many debts, one will not worry. As long as you mention it, big sister will do it for you. We still need to owe favors? Yang Chen did not understand. He asked Aolan, Aside from the dragon entanglement grass, what else is there? This is something that I just thought of. Aolan did not stand on ceremony. She said whatever came to her mind. Can we borrow that expert for some time to temper Aolai? As Aolan spoke, she pointed in the direction where Lin Jingyuan had disappeared, indicating that she was interested in Lin Jingyuan. In the past, he did not really listen to you, so I did not dare to use him. Aolan quickly added, however, after seeing him make a move today, he already knows his limits. He probably will listen to you and not kill you. How about helping Aolai this once? Chapter 2100. When Aolan saw Lin Jingyuan make a move earlier, she immediately thought of something. Although Aolai had grown a lot under her supervision, he was still much weaker than the other dragon race experts in the spiritual realm. It was impossible for an ordinary golden immortal expert to ask an early-stage profound immortal to accompany an early-stage profound immortal cultivator to train. Even the dragon race would not be able to do so. However, to Yang Chen, Lin Jingyuan was a mindless fool who only listened to a few people in Yang Chen's family. That was a different matter altogether. Aolan believed that Yang Chen would be willing to help Aolai. When Aolai heard Aolan's words, his expression changed. His originally red body nearly turned white from shock. Aside from shock, there was also fright. Of course, Aolai had seen Lin Jingyuan make a move. He had even rejoiced in Lin Jingyuan's misfortune as he watched Long Yuan make a fool of himself. However, in the blink of an eye, this misfortune befell him. Why is my luck so bad? After all, Long Yuan was a peak profound immortal expert. Yet, he was like a toy to Lin Jingyuan. Aolai knew Lin Jingyuan's exact situation. Lin Jingyuan probably treated Long Yuan like a toy. Aolai himself was only an early-stage profound immortal. He was much weaker than Long Yuan. Wouldn't it be asking for his life if he were to suffer like this? However, be it before Aolan or Yang Chen, Aolai painfully discovered that he had no right to speak. Either one of them could order him to do certain things, and he did not dare to refuse. If he had known, he would not have teased Long Yuan earlier. They were clearly brothers in hardship. That's fine, Yang Chen said after rubbing his chin and hesitating for a long time. The moment Aolai heard this, he looked at Yang Chen, hoping that he would refuse. He immediately withered like a frosted eggplant. Only a few good days had passed. Soon it would be dark again. However, in the blink of an eye, Yang Chen said another word, filling Aolai's heart with hope. Although there is no problem with using Shaolin now, it will not be good if he remembers this when he returns to the Immortal Realm. Yang Chen rubbed his chin and said unhurriedly, unless we give Shaolin some benefits so that he will not pursue this matter. Now, Yang Chen's family already called Lin Jingyuan Shaolin, sounding very intimate. In any case, there was nothing wrong. Be it Gong's Sunling or the other concubines, they were already used to it. Lin Jingyuan also accepted this form of address. Every time the girls called him that, he knew that there was either delicious food or fun to play with. Shaolin Jingyuan also accepted this form of address. Xiao Chen looked at Aolai and saw his lies pitiable. He Xiao Lai. Aolai's expression. Chen of Xiao. Of Xiao Chen, Xiao Lai's Long Yuan. Xiao Tian of Chen of Chen of realm of Chen of. Xiao Chen chuckled to himself. Then, he turned to Aolan and said, how about this? Get Aolai to help Shaolin familiarize himself with the fire attribute when he has nothing to do. This is to prevent him from suffering when he encounters a inattributed flame like the spirit-devouring dragon fire in the future. Alright, let's do that. Aolan immediately nodded. Then, he turned to Aolai and said, you should know what to do, right? Although Aolai was extremely unwilling in his heart, he did not dare to express his dissatisfaction and denial of Aolan and Yang Chen's decision in front of them. He could only nod his head, feeling wronged, and start to mourn for his future life. Aolan said to torture Lin Jingyuan, which meant that Lin Jingyuan had nothing better to do. As for Aolai helping Lin Jingyuan familiarize himself with the fire attribute, Aolai had to control himself carefully. Aolai was very clear that it was one thing for Lin Jingyuan to listen to Yang Chen. However, if Lin Jingyuan instinctively sensed danger, that would be another matter. Who knows, Lin Jingyuan might even kill him in an instant. Don't show such a sullen face. Others can't even beg for it. When Yang Chen saw Aolai's expression, he wanted to laugh. However, he still kept a straight face and said, furthermore, aside from playing with Shaolin every day, you still have to do something else. There's more? Aolai nearly cried out. However, when Aolan glared at him, he immediately became much calmer out of fear. Of course, Yang Chen said rudely, it is not just you. Elder sister Aolan has been busy these past few days too. Being able to help little brother is also a good thing. Now, Aolan addressed Xiao Chen as little brother, not treating him as an outsider at all. Her tone was also warm as she asked, what is it? Shouldn't you all help I use water and fire dragon horn's flying sword as well? Yang Chen asked with a smile. Even though the water and fire dragon horns were only materials for the flying sword, they were still items of the dragon race after all. It was better to use the dragon race's methods to refine them. Right now, this was Yang Chen's plan. No matter what, he had to drag Aolan and Aolai, the two royal members of the dragon race, down with him. Are you not afraid that there will be too much aura in Ayu's life flying sword, affecting its might? Aolan did not think much of it. It was as she said. Right now, she owed Yang Chen too much and felt somewhat embarrassed. Helping Xiao Chen with a small favor was just to get closer to him. However, there were some things that had to be said up front lest they ended up doing something bad out of good intentions. With Xiao Tian around, what is there to be afraid of? Yang Chen smiled and pointed to the dragon pagoda. Only now did Aolai recall that Yang Chen had a member of the dragon race who was not of the pure dragon race by his side. Since that is the case, then let Ayu accompany me. Aolan nodded and did not put on airs. She immediately agreed. Ao Lai, after you accompany Shaolin every day, take the initiative to come over and work. Alright. Ao Lai agreed with a sullen expression. His expression was as unsightly as one could imagine. That's right. Get Xiao Tian to use the Dragon Pagoda to collect the dragon essence that Long Yuan left behind. Speaking of Xiao Tian, Ao Lan recalled something. She reminded Yang Chen, there is no need to worry about the dragon essence dissipating in the Dragon Pagoda. There are benefits to soaking in there every day. No matter what, the dragon essence of the pure dragon race would be beneficial to Xiao Tian. Yang Chen also became happy. This could be considered an additional surprise. The cooperation with the dragon race was completed for now. Yang Chen called Gao Yu out and told her that big sister Ao Lan and Ao Lai would help her refine the life flying sword. Gao Yu was overjoyed and immediately accompanied Ao Lan and Ao Lai. Now, only Yang Chen, Shi Shanshan, and big brother Li Qing remained. Without outsiders, Yang Chen felt even more relaxed. He did not stand on ceremony with big brother Li Qing. He pointed at Shi Shanshan and said, Big brother, look at Shanshan's current appearance. How is she going to suppress the sword light? What is this supposed to be? Li Qing did not even need to look at Shi Shanshan to know what her problem was. The life-flying sword has just been refined. There is no way to control it freely. The grade of the flying sword is too high. Naturally, it will be very fiery. You just have to temper it slowly. I don't believe that you do not know of a way. If you want to suppress the sword light quickly, you have to see more blood. Chapter 2101. Even without Yang Chen saying it, even Shi Shanshan knew how to solve this problem. The slower and safer way was to rely on the accumulation of time, deepen the sacrificial refining skill, and then gradually control it freely. After a long time, the goal would naturally be achieved. Of course, the fast method was definitely risky, especially since this immortal sword was Shi Shanshan's natal flying sword. It couldn't be used casually. But now Shi Shanshan's sword light was overflowing, it was really a bit embarrassing, so Yang Chen must also want to solve the problem as soon as possible. As Li Qing said, the fastest and best way to suppress this kind of sword light was to see blood. After washing the sword with blood and drinking blood, no matter what sword it was, it could quickly change its temperament, and its brilliance would be restrained, and the immortal sword would not be out of this category. However, this effect could not be achieved by simply seeing blood. No matter how many pigs and dogs were killed, it would only turn the immortal sword into a butcher's knife in the hands of a butcher. The cultivator's flying sword naturally wanted to see the blood of the cultivator. It was just that the demonic tribulation of the spiritual world had just passed, and the potion crisis had also ended. The most likely large-scale war next was the battle with the Zhao family. But now the decisive factor in the battle with the Zhao family was not ordinary cultivators, but a large number of Xian immortal masters. Gong Xuanling's supreme pure yang sword qi could kill enemies above her level, but even with the help of the pure yang immortal sword, Gong Sunling could only send out 2 swords that could kill the enemy at most in the face of many Xian immortal masters, and then she would be slaughtered. Therefore, the battle with the Zhao family for Gong Sunling would definitely not achieve the purpose of washing the sword with blood. As a disciple of the Dao sects, Shi Shanshan would certainly not go to kill innocent people. The beasts were almost eliminated, and it was not Shi Shanshan's turn to kill. After thinking about it, he could only ask big brother Li Qing for advice. But where are we going to find so much blood? Yang Chen sighed, still staring at big brother Li Qing, and said, Why don't we go to the demon continent? There were enough demonized monsters in the demon continent, and there was no guilt in killing them. It was also a good opportunity to gain experience. It was simply the best choice now. Aren't you going to wait and see the results? Brother Li Qing raised his eyes and glanced at Yang Chen, asking a question that Shi Shanshan found baffling. Shi Shanshan didn't know about Yang Chen and the mysterious heaven sect, but Yang Chen never hid this from big brother Li Qing. He even told him some of the details for Big Brother Li Cheng's reference. When he first heard of Yang Chen's actions, Big Brother Li Cheng also widened his eyes. He pointed at Yang Chen, dumbstruck, and was speechless for a long time. There was no doubt that Yang Chen would not deal with the mysterious heaven sect, but Big Brother Li Cheng did not expect that after Yang Chen secretly plotted against the Taishaman in the mortal world, he immediately played the mysterious heaven sect in the palm of his hand when he arrived in the spiritual world. Now the result that Big Brother Li Cheng was talking about was the result of Yang Chen encouraging sect Master Li to take action early last time. Originally, Li Cheng thought that Yang Chen would wait until the result was out before going to the demon continent. Unexpectedly, Yang Chen proposed it now. Don't wait. Yang Chen directly made a decision. If I stay here all the time, the Zhao family will also send some masters to attack my Chunyang palace. If I leave with Big Brother, they can concentrate their strength instead. Shi Shanshan listened to the inexplicable words of the two people, but she couldn't understand a word. She was very speechless. However, her husband and Big Brother Li Cheng were definitely reliable people. What they said was the truth. All right. Li Cheng didn't have a good impression of the mysterious heaven sect either, so he nodded. Then let's go. Yang Chen's family was very vigorous. The next day, Chunyang Palace released the news that Master Yang Chen went out to look for a rare medicinal material, which might take a while. Those who came to ask for pills could go directly to Wanbao Tower to ask Elder Wu. Many cultivators saw Yang Chen's family sitting on Gong Xuanling's ship swaggering away, but no one dared to follow them easily. Master Yang was no longer a nobody, and anyone could follow him for no reason. Even if it was on the way, it was unknown how many cultivators in the spiritual world dreamed of finding an opportunity to please Master Yang. If they followed Master Yang secretly, maybe one day someone would unknowingly take the head of the 6 sons and send it to Master Yang to ask for credit. Therefore, when Master Yang went out, he took women with him. It was fine if they met by chance, but no one dared to follow him all the way. Unless Master Yang gave the order, it was better not to take the risk. Of course, there were people who were not afraid of death. Not only did they follow Yang Chen, but they also appeared directly in front of Yang Chen not long after. Yang Chen, where are you going? The person who came was very impolite. He sat directly opposite Yang Chen and unscrupulously tasted Yang Chen's good wine while asking impolitely. The other party was so impolite, but Yang Chen was not angry at all. Instead, he was very respectful. The person who appeared was elderly, the big elder of the mysterious heaven sect. Last time, the experts of the Zhao family were accidentally scared away, but they still left some clues. Elder Li personally led half of the Big Elder Li's experts and some Heaven Immortal experts hidden in the dark to secretly protect Chunyang Palace. This was the guarantee given to Yang Chen by the major sect, so the experts involved in this matter, except for the Big Elder Li, did not know the inside story. They only thought that the sect was fulfilling its promise. Elder Li knew Yang Chen's real identity, so he did not care and directly boarded the ship to ask Yang Chen. Of course, he chose a time when there was no one else, so as not to reveal the collusion between Yang Chen and the mysterious heaven sect. At this time, Yang Chen's wives and concubines had already been driven into the cabin, so they did not know who the guest was. This disciple will go and see if there is anything I can help with. Yang Chen already had a plan to deal with it, so he quickly replied, I can't let so many seniors take risks just because of my guess. This disciple feels uneasy. How can you help with your cultivation? Nonsense. Elder Li listened to Yang Chen's explanation and was happy in his heart, but he still had a reprimanding look on his face. Whether what you said is a guess or not, someone will naturally go and verify it. The sect master is talented and bold, so how can he take risks for no reason? This disciple is being rude. Yang Chen immediately apologized. With the words of the great elder, Yang Chen could justifiably watch the show leisurely. He didn't have to worry about the results. He didn't even have to worry about what would happen to him if the major sects failed this time. After all, the first elder had already said that someone had verified it, and Yang Chen was just guessing. If there was a problem, it was the responsibility of those who were responsible for the investigation, and it had nothing to do with Yang Chen. But since this disciple has come out, I might as well walk around and find a secret place to see if I can refine a batch of pills. Yang Chen had even thought of an excuse. Anyway, as long as he did not return to Chunyang Palace, he could go anywhere. Chapter 2102. As long as the Great Elder knew what Yang Chen wanted, he didn't care where he went. In any case, he knew that almost all of Yang Chen's wives and concubines had a Xian Immortal guard. The Murong sisters also had dragon puppets with them, so Yang Chen's safety was definitely not a problem. Since his safety was not a problem, then he could go wherever he wanted. Hearing that Yang Chen wanted to find a place to refine pills, the Great Elder nodded slightly. Yang Chen was someone who knew how to be filial to his elders. Every time he refined pills, there would always be benefits for them. This time would not be the same. The Great Elder left with satisfaction. Yang Chen watched the Great Elder's figure disappear before turning around to see Big Brother Li Qing. You don't like the mysterious heaven sect, so why are you still pretending to be polite to them? Li Qing seemed to be curious. For example, he really wanted to know what Yang Chen was thinking. Big Brother, do you believe that I want the mysterious heaven sect to be destroyed? There were only two people on the deck, Yang Chen and Li Qing. There wasn't even a concubine to serve them. Yang Chen didn't beat around the bush and directly spoke the truth. I believe it. Of course I believe it. Li Qing nodded heavily. Didn't you exterminate the Taishanmen in the mortal world? Do you have a deep grudge against the mysterious heaven sect? It's a long story. Yang Chen smiled bitterly and shook his head. How could he explain it to Big Brother Li Qing? Should he tell him that he was tortured by the mysterious heaven sect in his previous life? If it's hard to explain, then don't explain. Li Qing didn't care what reason Yang Chen had. The key was that he didn't like the mysterious heaven sect. If Yang Chen couldn't explain it, then there was no need to explain. Thank you for your understanding, Big Brother. Yang Chen raised his cup with both hands and toasted Big Brother Li Qing. With your current strength, along with Madame Bai and the people around you, it's more than enough to destroy the mysterious heaven sect. Li Qing seemed to be chatting with Yang Chen and asked him about his plans. Are you not going to directly deal with it? How boring would that be? Yang Chen smiled and said, if we destroy the mysterious heaven sect now, won't the Zhao family have to do it themselves? This reason was very strong. At least, Li Qing could accept it. However, in Yang Chen's mind, it was another plan. In his previous life, the Xiantian sect had destroyed the Chunyang Palace, killed his master, and chased him to a dead end. In the end, he was captured and tortured by the Xiantian sect for thousands of years. This kind of hatred was not something that could be resolved by just wiping out the mysterious heaven sect. They would have to make the mysterious heaven sect endure all kinds of hardships before finally wiping them out. That would be revenge. Moreover, wouldn't the heavenly court send more experts after destroying the Black Heaven sect? Yang Chen gave another reason. It has to be done flawlessly, just like the Taishanmen in the mortal world. All right. Li Qing nodded and approved of Yang Chen's current approach. Then let's go. In a few months, I don't think they will be in such a good mood now. Yang Chen knew what Li Qing was talking about, smiled in agreement, and said nothing more. The two drank in silence for a while, and then returned to the cabin. Master Yang of the Chunyang Palace went out to look for rare medicinal pills and soon disappeared. Some people investigated more, but they did not find the whereabouts of Master Yang's family. It must be that Master Yang was deliberately secretive and did not want people to know his whereabouts. At this moment, Yang Chen's family was in the Mountain River geographical map with Big Brother Li Qing. In front of them was the core of the demon continent that was exuding a thick black gas. If it weren't for Yang Chen and Li Qing pointing it out, the girls wouldn't have known that it was their husband's credit that the demon continent was no longer invaded by the demonic energy. Feeling the same familiar demonic energy as in the past, the girls who had experienced the experience of the demon continent were in a different mood. How to open the portal? Yang Chen asked Big Brother Li Qing. Big Brother Li Qing had never said what method to use before, probably because he was afraid that Yang Chen's unauthorized action would bring any hidden dangers. Now that things have come to an end, he will definitely tell him the method. Where is your earth-shattering immortal beheading blade? Li Qing did not answer, but asked instead. The word earth-shattering was added by Shi Shanshan after she bought the immortal beheading blade from the Lost Star Pavilion last time, and then it became a joke among the girls. Even Gao Yu suggested that Yang Chen refine the immortal beheading blade into the shape of that blade, which made Yang Chen very speechless. By now, even Li Qing knew this story and used it to tease Yang Chen unceremoniously. Yang Chen rolled his eyes for a while, and the girls next to him were already laughing so hard that they couldn't stand up straight. It was rare to see his husband's expression like this. It was simply pleasing to the eye. With a shake of his hand, the shadow of the immortal beheading blade appeared. Xiao Tian also appeared in Yang Chen's hand, his tail wrapped around Yang Chen's wrist, but his whole body turned into a hideous hilt, and the blade of the immortal beheading blade shone with a strange light in his mouth. Use the portal of the immortal beheading stage to cut open this space. Li Qing didn't talk nonsense and directly told Yang Chen what to do. However, after opening it, there will definitely be demonic energy overflowing, be careful yourself. Yang Chen nodded and motioned for the girls to stand back. To be on the safe side, Yang Chen directly took out the 9 secluded flying sword and the 9th water flying sword and turned them into 2 nested black spheres, wrapping the core of the demon continent in them. In this way, even if the space was suddenly broken, no matter how powerful the demonic energy was, it would be sealed in the wrapping of the 9 secluded flying sword and the 9th water flying sword. These 2 flying swords originally absorbed the demonic energy, so naturally they would not be damaged by the demonic energy, and would even be a great supplement. It was rare for Yang Chen to hold the hilt of the blade with both hands and raise the immortal beheading blade high. The 3rd primordial spirit also controlled the core of the demon continent at this time and fixed it in one place, waiting for Yang Chen to cut it down. Yang Chen and Xiao Tian entered a state of mind and soul integration, and the 2nd primordial spirit also urged the ability of the entrance of the immortal beheading blade to cut off the space to the extreme. The immortal beheading blade that was raised high slashed down heavily, hitting the core of the demon continent. Bang! A loud sound rang out. Normally, it would only emit a soft sound when it cleaved through all things. However, this time it was completely different from the past. The sound was several times louder than the most powerful thunder. Just hearing this sound would cause ordinary cultivators to faint. The blade of the immortal beheading blade accurately stopped on the core of the suspended demon continent. It was a pity that it just stopped there, but the blade did not cut in. Yang Chen's blade was in vain. Yang Chen was shocked for a while. What was this situation? He used the immortal beheading blade and used the entrance of the immortal beheading stage, but he didn't cut open the entrance of the demon continent? How was this possible? Xiao Tian's cultivation base is a bit low. Li Qing only took a glance and found the crux of the matter. Without further tempering, Xiao Tian can't exert its full power. As he said this, Big Brother Li Qing reached out and took out a golden medicinal pill and threw it directly into the mouth of Xiao Tian, who had released Yang Chen and spat out the immortal beheading blade. Xiao Tian had no doubt about Li Qing, and didn't look at what the medicinal pill in his mouth was, and swallowed it. Chapter 2103. I miscalculated this time. Li Qing admitted his mistake very generously without any embarrassment. Li Qing's character was very to Yang Chen's liking. Right was right, wrong was wrong. Even immortals might not be able to do everything perfectly. Admitting one's mistake would not make one lose face. However, what kind of pill did Li Qing give Xiao Tian to eat? Yang Chen did not see it clearly for a while. He could not find out what kind of pill it was with his spiritual sense. He could only wait for the result in doubt. That is Tianyuan Dan. Li Qing did not intend to hide this from Yang Chen. He directly told him the answer. It is the most suitable Tianyuan Dan for the dragon bloodline. This was already the second Tianyuan Dan that Yang Chen had seen. Until now, Yang Chen did not know what this Tianyuan Dan was. He only knew that the effect of Tianyuan Dan was amazing. Lady Fanghua and the 30 concubines used a Tianyuan Dan. It only took 1/10 of it for them to reach the heaven immortal realm. It was really shocking. However, Li Qing did not seem to want to tell Yang Chen the final answer. Yang Chen did not rush him. He knew the character of this big brother. He probably felt that it was not the time to let him know. When the time was right, he would naturally know. Xiao Tian swallowed the pill. His long body twisted a few times and flew back to the dragon pagoda. Although the effect was not known, Yang Chen had already seen a few more golden red lines on Xiao Tian's hideous face. It looked more and more hideous. Well, I will wait here for a while. I will wait for him to refine this Tianyuan Dan. Li Qing also saw the change in Xiao Tian. He admitted that his calculation was wrong and could only wait. This wait lasted for more than a year. During this period of time, Aolan got Sun Qingxue to wrap the blood-sucking demonic vines around them so that the dragon race experts with the surname Long could adapt to the dragon entanglement grass as soon as possible. This way they could train while working. As a result, a very funny scene appeared in the dragon palace. The 6 cocoons were tightly wrapped by the jasper dragon entanglement and blood-eating demon Rattan. They couldn't move at all, but they still wanted to help refine the dragon palace. Fortunately, Yang Chen's family is now in the Mountain River geographical map, and no one saw all of this, otherwise the women would definitely laugh. The 6 masters of the Long family are also tough. They are restrained by their natural enemies. In addition, there are also blood demon vines sucking flesh and blood. They clench their teeth and bear it. They were also stimulated to the extreme. Firstly, Long Yuan had already been taught a lesson by Yang Chen's family. If he performed badly now, he would definitely be laughed to death by Yang Chen's family. Secondly, even Princess Aolan's body was able to endure this kind of pain. If the few of them could not endure it, there would be no need for Aolan and Aolai to say anything. They would be too ashamed to show their faces. No matter how much pain they suffered, they could only grit their teeth and endure it. Fortunately, Sun Qingxue is kind-hearted. Although the dragon entanglement grass, blood-eating demon Rattan, and blood-eating demon Rattan always bring them pain, Sun Qingxue will also control the jasper vine to detoxify and repair them appropriately. Coupled with the abundant spiritual power in the Dragon Palace, they finally began to slowly get used to it after enduring the nightmare of not being able to move for a year. At least now they can make some simple movements. They are no longer helpless and at the mercy of others. Seeing the effect, the 6 Dragon Clan experts are even more confident. Because of Sun Qingxue's comfort, they have changed their opinion of Yang Chen's family. None of the cultivators are fools, even more so for the Dragon Clan experts. If they still don't understand Aolan and Yang Chen's intention, they should have killed themselves long ago. Since the princess and Yang Chen are willing to help, if they waste this opportunity, they will be letting down the princess who owes Yang Chen a big favor. Therefore, they are more and more concerned about helping Yang Chen refine the Dragon Palace. They can't let the princess find a way to return the favor in the future. After being able to move, these guys acted as if they were desperate, looking forward to completing it as soon as possible so that their princess can relax a little. The 6 Dragon Clan experts' mood to protect the princess is very touching. They don't know that the princess they want to do their best to protect is helping Gao Yu refine the water dragon horn flying sword in the water dragon palace. Aolai, the poor royal family, is even more miserable. In addition to helping Gao Yu refine the fire dragon horn flying sword, he often has to be taught a lesson in front of Lin Jingyuan. His life is like purgatory. On the contrary, Madame Bai and those maids are having a good time among the aborigines of the mountain river geographical map. Once upon a time, when did they have such a presumptuous opportunity to do whatever they want? Although they don't remember many things, they have never forgotten about cultivation. In particular, Yang Chen's family often plays in the mortal world. Some of the family property manors left behind were directly taken advantage of by Madame Bai and her maids. On weekdays, they all concealed their identities and mingled among the aborigines, or pretended to be ordinary people, or high-ranking officials, or businessmen who made a lot of money every day, or generals who led troops to battle. They could hone whatever they wanted. When they were having fun, several maids also established a small country and played the game of tyrannical conquest. They were so happy that they forgot to return. As for Madame Bai herself, she is still her world-famous prostitute, and she is never tired of it. I don't know how many people are willing to spend a lot of money just to see her. I don't know how many people are fascinated by her, and their clothes are gradually loosening. In short, the world is in a mess because of Scourge. Gao Yu continues to temper her own life source flying sword, and so does Shi Shanshan. Sun Qingxue helped the Dragon Clan masters adapt to the dragon in tangled grass, and she also got great benefit. The other women were cultivating separately, waiting for the time when Xiao Tian could open the core of the demon continent. Just as everyone was calmly cultivating and waiting, Xiao Tian poked his head out of the dragon tower. After more than a year, dozens of blood-red fine lines appeared on Xiao Tian's face, and his aura became more and more aggressive, as if he had just sharpened a sword. This state was almost exactly the same as Shi Shanshan. Seeing the appearance of Xiao Tian, Yang Chen knew that he couldn't do it without experience. If Xiao Tian continues to look like this, I am afraid that when the killing intent of the immortal beheading blade comes out, the whole world will be shocked. As soon as Xiao Tian came out, he did not immediately test whether he could cut open the core of the demon continent, but directly rushed out of the mountain river geographical map. The magic weapon of the Dragon Clan seems to have no restrictions on Xiao Tian. He can enter and exit as he wants. Perhaps it has something to do with the third primordial spirit's indulgence. Everyone followed Xiao Tian out of the mountain river geographical map, and then immediately saw the tribulation clouds in the sky. It was Xiao Tian who felt that his cultivation base was insufficient, and with the help of Tianyuan Dan, he was going to cross the tribulation. Everyone was watching from afar, wanting to see how much movement Xiao Tian could cause this time. Chapter 2104. Everyone had the experience of crossing the tribulation, and it could be seen that Xiao Tian was going to cross the human immortal tribulation. Like everyone, Xiao Tian's strength far exceeded the standard of crossing the tribulation, so the power of the tribulation far exceeded the ordinary tribulation. Boom! When the first tribulation fell, Xiao Tian's figure seemed to directly become the thunder of the tribulation. Even the angle of the bending was exactly the same, and the long body was directly connected from the sky to the ground. Looking at it from a distance, where could you see the thunder? Clearly only the body of Xiao Tian was shining. In the feeling of everyone, Xiao Tian was the moment when the tribulation was just about to fall, and his body would be exactly the same as the tribulation. It gave people the feeling that Xiao Tian and the tribulation were integrated into one. All the power in the tribulation was completely absorbed by Xiao Tian, just like Yang Chen in the past. It's just that Yang Chen swallowed all the tribulation in one gulp, and Xiao Tian came one by one. The second, the third, a series of tribulations had almost no effect on Xiao Tian, and there was no damage on his body at all. If it wasn't for the long body of Shao Tian that would flash a dazzling light from time to time, everyone thought that it was just the gathering of tribulation clouds, and the tribulation did not come at all. When the last tribulation flashed on Shao Tian's body, the peace between heaven and earth was quickly restored and disappeared. Shao Tian in the air had a few more faint golden threads on his body, and it looked noble and threatening. However, Shao Tian did not fall immediately, but twisted his body a few times in the air, as if thinking about something. What is Shao Tian thinking about? Sun Qingxue saw the situation of Shao Tian and asked curiously. I'm estimating whether I want to cross the earth, immortal tribulation. Yang Chen did not answer, and Li Qing, who was next to him, said casually. The special talent of the Dragon Clan gave Shao Tian the ability to cross the tribulation anytime and anywhere, but I don't know why. The Dragon Clan is rarely willing to cross the tribulation as soon as they reach the standard. Aolai was like this, Aolan was like this, and those surnamed Long were also like this, and now it had become Shao Tian. It doesn't have to be so difficult to decide. Yang Chen sent a thought to Shao Tian. He was the master, Shao Tian was a monster pet. He could use this more convenient way of communication. Try it first, you can continue to cross the tribulation. This idea was very good. Shao Tian looked very satisfied and quickly returned to Yang Chen's side. Let's go back to the Dragon Tower to consolidate for a few days. Yang Chen said to Shao Tian with great care. Shao Tian shook his head and obediently got into the Dragon Tower. Long Yuan had already discharged some dragon essence. Although the amount was very small, it was still of great benefit to Shao Tian now. A few days passed by, and soon everyone appeared in front of the core of the demon continent again. Yang Chen still used the 9 nether flying sword to wrap the entire demon continent and was ready to use the immortal beheading blade. There were a few more golden threads on Shao Tian's body and some bloodlines on his face. When he held the immortal beheading saber in his mouth, the immortal beheading saber revealed its sharpness and overflowed with killing intent. The entrance of the immortal beheading stage also turned into a long and narrow space blade, which merged with the blade of the immortal beheading blade. Brush, a heavy slash of the blade. Yang Chen's full attack, the huge power brought an indescribable speed, and the shining blade flashed across the core of the demon continent. This time there was no obstacle, and the blade was like cutting through tofu, easily cut through. For a few moments the blade disappeared directly, as if it had cut into the void, and immediately appeared again. In front of Yang Chen, there was only one point of the demon continent that exuded a trace of demonic qi. Suddenly, the point turned into a black line, which was the mark of Yang Chen's blade. There was a hissing sound on the black line, and countless black demonic qi gushed out of it. In a moment, Yang Chen and big brother Li Qing beside him were wrapped in it, and their figures could no longer be seen. The 9 nether flying sword and the 9th water flying sword seemed to have encountered some kind of nourishing holy item, emitting a dark light, and devouring the black gas hungrily. Especially the 9 nether flying sword, the whole sword body was trembling with excitement, and every subtle 9 nether flying dust was jumping, as if wandering in the sea of demonic qi. Not enough, a gap is not enough for us to go in. Li Cheng's voice sounded next to him, and it didn't sound like he was affected by the demonic qi at all. Yang Chen himself was also unaffected. Although the demonic qi that had just gushed out was strong, it was not stronger than the one that originally seeped out of the core of the demon continent. It was just that the amount suddenly increased. This level of demonic qi, not to mention Yang Chen, even for the concubines who had never been to the demon continent to practice, it was not a problem. Sometimes it was really the realm of cultivation that determined everything. At that time, the ultimate demonized demonic vine was only in the realm of the 2nd grade of the Earth Immortal, and now among Yang Chen's family, the worst was the 3rd grade of the Earth Immortal. As soon as big brother Li Cheng's voice fell, Yang Chen raised the immortal beheading blade again in the darkness, and slashed horizontally again. This time, the demonic chi that gushed out changed from a thin line to a cross. The center of the cross was the original core of the demon continent. With this cross as a benchmark, the next thing was not much trouble. Yang Chen slashed along the edge of the cross 4 times, cutting out a large rectangular opening. When the last cut was completed, boom, a rectangular space exit with the height of a person burst in front of Yang Chen. The demonic chi, like a substance, suddenly spewed out from this big opening, and the surging airflow even pushed Yang Chen back a step. The 9 secluded flying sword and 9th water flying sword quickly became a rectangular shape, completely fitting with the space exit. All the demonic chi was restrained and absorbed by the 2 flying swords, and no trace of it emerged into the mountain river geographical map. As soon as this space exit appeared, the 3rd primordial spirit immediately began to refine this exit according to the method of refining the space exit. The hundreds of millions of creatures in the mountain river geographical map also concentrated all their power under the mobilization of the 3rd primordial spirit and began to refine targeted. As long as this space exit was refined, the demonic chi would not wreak havoc in the mountain river geographical map. Everyone just wanted to go to the other side of the demon continent to gain experience, not to bring disaster to the mountain river geographical map. Yang Chen's family finally saw the appearance of this space exit. It appeared in midair, and the black gas inside was surging, but there was no trace of it that could cross the boundary. It was clearly different from the world of the mountain river geographical map, which made people couldn't help but sigh at the magic of creation. The space exit had been opened. To be on the safe side, everyone still did not go in directly, but quietly waited for the 3rd primordial spirit to refine the exit. In the past, it only took Yang Chen a few hundred years to refine the exit of the demon continent, and the opening was much larger than it was now. There were millions of cultivators in the mountain river geographical map helping the 3rd primordial spirit, and it would not take long to refine this space exit. Chapter 2105. As Yang Chen expected, the combined efforts of hundreds of Xian Immortal Masters and thousands of Heaven Immortal Masters were more than 10,000 times more efficient than Yang Chen's refining with the help of the 100 Spirit Battle Armor after the tribulation. In less than a year, the exit of the demon continent that was cut out by Yang Chen was completely refined. Yang Chen could finally temporarily take back the 9 secluded flying sword and the 9th water flying sword, and no longer use the flying sword to block the demonic chi from entering the mountain river geographical map. Without the 2 flying swords, the scenery over there was clearer, and the surging demonic chi was more and more chilling. "I'll go in with Big Brother first, and then you guys go in one by one." Yang Chen told the women that Yang Chen and Li Qing were the best at resisting the demonic chi around him. If others went in, Yang Chen would not be at ease. Li Qing didn't say anything. This kind of scene was just a piece of cake for him. It was nothing more than going in and taking a look. His little brother cared about his family, and he would fulfill it. Shanshan, after going in, used the flying sword. Unless it's a last resort, don't use the sword chi. Yang Chen turned to Shanshan and told her. For Shanshan, the main purpose of entering the demon continent this time was to wash the sword with blood, not to temper the sword chi. Shanshan understood this very well. She nodded and grasped the hilt of the pure Yang Immortal sword tightly, indicating that she had understood. Seeing that everyone was ready, Yang Chen grabbed the immortal beheading blade and stepped into the space exit first. As soon as he entered, it was dark, and the demonic chi had occupied the entire field of vision. Fortunately, Yang Chen's spiritual awareness could still penetrate far, and he would not become completely blind. As soon as his foot landed, it was as if he had disturbed some powerful demonic beast, and a powerful gust of wind directly attacked Yang Chen. With a flip of the immortal beheading blade, the effects of the 9 secluded flying sword and the 9th water flying sword that Yang Chen deliberately stimulated made the immortal beheading blade into a black broadsword. However, because of Shao Tian, the ghost face on the handguard, and the blade had several more blood-colored lines, making the immortal beheading blade extremely ferocious. Chi, the saber in his hand, fell, and an extremely shrill scream came from the darkness. Before the second sound could be heard, Yang Chen's second blade had fallen again. This time, the sound stopped abruptly and there was no more. In the darkness, there seemed to be a stream of blood chi drilling directly into the immortal beheading saber, causing the blood-colored lines on the black blade to become blood-red, faintly emitting some faint light. The beheading immortal blade finally showed a different kind of fierceness in this place where the demonic chi was overflowing. The second primordial spirit also attached the whole killing intent to the blade, and even Yang Chen's temperament changed. The cultivation of the demon beasts here was not low, all of them were at the earth immortal level. Yang Chen didn't want his family to come in unprepared and take risk. Li Cheng landed behind him, but he didn't take anything. He looked at the scenery with his hands behind his back, watching Yang Chen kill 4 or 5 demonic beasts closest to him and clear the area. Don't worry, this level of demonic energy is not enough to make them lose their minds. Li Cheng knew Yang Chen's mind and reminded him, the real trouble is over there. Li Cheng landed behind him, but he didn't take anything. He looked at the scenery with his hands behind his back, watching Yang Chen kill 4 or 5 demonic beasts closest to him in a row and clear up the area. The direction Li Cheng looked at was the direction where the demonic energy was the strongest. The entrance that Yang Chen opened to come in was not the most central part of the demon continent, and the demonic energy was not the strongest. In one direction in the distance, the demonic energy was so thick that it was almost about to turn into liquid. It seemed that that direction was the real core part of the demon continent. The women came in one by one, and everyone was ready with their own flying sword, and they were extremely vigilant. Okay, now get used to the surroundings. Once you are defeated, don't try to be brave and ask for help immediately. Yang Chen once again told the women. This place was not like the mountain river geographical map, and they had to be careful. Elder brother Li Cheng began to arrange a formation in place. This formation had the function of protection and could also clean up the demonic energy within a certain range. Of course, the most important thing was that it could be located, so that everyone could know the location of this entrance through this formation. Otherwise, once they went far and couldn't find the way back, Yang Chen's family would be trapped in this demon continent and unable to go home. Suddenly, a group of cultivators, who had not been contaminated by too much devil chi, suddenly appeared in the dense devil chi. They were as bright and outstanding as fireflies in the dark night. All the demonized demon beasts within thousands of miles seemed to have seen the most delicious meat, crazily pouncing towards them. The women were not willing to show weakness, and they all took out their own means and greeted them from all directions. At this time, elder brother Li Cheng was arranging the formation, and he couldn't let these demonic beasts interfere with him. A merciless massacre unfolded. The demonic beasts were crazier than the most ferocious and crazy beasts, and they only knew how to kill. And everyone had no reason to be merciful at all. The two sides had no other choice but to fight. All kinds of flying sword flew together, and countless beasts danced with their claws and teeth. In this area of tens of miles, the human cultivators and the demonic beasts began to fight wildly. Countless bloody lights came one after another, and then they were madly absorbed by the blood-colored vines that grew on the ground. At first, the women could still maintain a clear mind, but after the killing exceeded a certain number, even the most quiet Gong Sunling was also red in the eyes, and her ruthlessness was unbelievable. Gao Yu Gong Sunling, Shi Shanshan, and Sun Qingxue were fine. After all, they had trained in the demon continent before, and they soon found the kind of fighting state they had in the past. In front of this flock of demonic beasts, they were the most efficient in killing. Relatively speaking, Tao Junqi, Shi Wushuang, the Murong sisters, Lady Fenghua, and the 30 concubines were worse. Although they had also experienced the power of the demonic beasts in the spirit world, these demonic beasts that were even crazier than those crazy beasts still made them feel pressure. Crazy beasts were just crazy, and they knew to dodge when encountering a strong and threatening attack. But these demonic beasts didn't care at all, and they had a posture of exchanging life for life. Even if their fatal parts were attacked, they didn't care, and just attacked their targets crazily. People who haven't experienced it really can't imagine how crazy it is. Of course, this kind of pressure was mainly psychological pressure. After all, in terms of cultivation, the cultivation of the women was higher. Even if these demonic beasts were crazy and irrational, it was not so easy to hurt the women. Finally, after a period of fighting, the women were used to these desperate demonic beasts, and their counterattacks began to become sharper and sharper. Chapter 2106. As soon as they came up, it was this kind of crazy killing without warning, without purpose and without reason. Everyone was under pressure. The cultivation base of these demonic beasts was stronger than that of the ultimate demonic vine. Coupled with their fearless momentum, the combat power of each demonic beast was more than twice as high as it was in its normal state. After withstanding the initial pressure, everyone began to fight back. Yang Chen's immortal beheading blade never stopped, constantly waving, harvesting the lives of the demonic beasts rushing from all directions. After a while, Yang Chen's immortal beheading blade was wrapped in a layer of blood, and the black blade almost turned blood-colored. The original blood-colored stripes on the blade were almost invisible, only the two eyes on the hideous ghost head emitted a flashing dark red light, which looked like a ghost in the darkness. Just before the desire to kill hidden in the deepest part of everyone's heart was completely aroused, Big Brother Li Cheng's voice was clearly transmitted to everyone's ears. "Okay, the formation is set up, come back and take a rest." Big Brother Li Cheng's words carried a force that made people involuntarily feel at ease, so that everyone's animalistic nature that had just been aroused was quickly suppressed, and they returned to the state of cultivators, and began to consciously retreat back to Big Brother Li Cheng's formation. Is it fun to kill? When everyone sat down in Big Brother Li Cheng's formation and began to rest, Big Brother Li Cheng asked everyone with a smile. The formation arranged here was very similar to those on the demon continent, which could effectively repel the invasion of the demonic energy. At least in the formation, everyone could clearly see the surrounding situation, not as dark as in the demonic energy. The formation firmly blocked those demonic beasts outside, and it seemed that even the aura of the two sides was isolated. As soon as everyone entered the formation, those demonic beasts seemed to have lost their target and were looking around in confusion. It turns out that this is the feeling of your experience in the demon continent. Tao Junkie said with emotion as she participated in this kind of experience for the first time. For a while, Tao Junkie was about to become a killing machine, and she almost became a killing machine. In fact, it was even more dangerous than that. Yang Chen replied with a smile, "You should know that we were only at the nascent soul stage at that time. At this moment, the demonized demon beasts that appeared were much stronger than the strongest demonized demonic vine at that time. Even if all the women were talented masters who could defeat opponents with higher realms than them, these boundless and fearless demonized demon beasts almost made their hands go soft from killing them. Other than Yang Chen, Shi Shanshan was the one who adapted the most. She had experienced the experience of the demon continent, and the main purpose of coming here this time was to wash her sword and kill. So in the killing just now, Shi Shanshan was also the one who killed the most ruthless. It had been a long time since Yang Chen had experienced such an intense fight. Not long ago, the massacre almost made him completely release the killing intent of the immortal beheading saber. Fortunately, he was still worried about the women and did not do anything crazy. However, that kind of unscrupulous killing still made Yang Chen feel very happy. In these years in the spiritual world, Yang Chen had not killed so happily, and in order to completely eliminate the profound heaven sect, Sometimes he had to recognize the enemy as his father and pretend to be courteous. To be honest, although this method could achieve better results, it also brought a kind of accumulated depression in the mind. Although this expedition to the demon continent was said to lay the foundation for Gong Sunling to collect this continent, it was not necessarily not to let Yang Chen's unbridled killing ease his mood. Big brother Li Qing must be well aware of this, so he arranged these at this time. Yang Chen was also clear, but both of them had a tacit understanding, and no one said anything. The key was not to tell Yang Chen's women, lest they worry. Some things men can bear by themselves. After a simple cultivation to ease their mood, everyone did not waste time and plunged into the killing again. As long as they walked out of the circle of this formation, there would be countless demonic beasts pouncing on them as if they had seen a peerless beauty. The following days were like this, constantly seeking pleasure, killing, repairing, continuing to kill and repairing again, boring and monotonous. In addition to the relative safety in the formation, as long as they left the formation, they would be surrounded by countless demonic beasts who did not care about their lives. Everyone could only do their best to ensure that they did not die and kill the enemy. Yang Chen's golden body secret art showed a strong defensive ability at this moment. There were always a few monsters in all directions that could attack Yang Chen's body, but this level of attack could not even break the Golden Bell and Golden Body Secret Art's already strong skin. In addition to Yang Chen, all the women had strong means to protect themselves. Gao Yu's 100 Spirits battle armor was also very good, which could protect Gao Yu from injury. Gong Sunling had the protection of the Mountain River geographical map and was safe and sound. The Murong sisters had the dragon puppet to protect them. Shi Wushuang could share life with the Penglai divine wood demon. Sun Qingxue had the Xuanwu shield. Tao Junqi had the true life fire. The only one who never protected herself was Shi Shanshan. Shi Shanshan's character was like this. She went forward and never feared. This character was reflected in the way she fought. She only attacked and did not defend. However, after all, Shi Shanshan was only one person. She could only attack in one direction. There would always be other demonic beasts in other directions that could attack her. In the face of the threat of life, Shi Shanshan also had to consider her own safety, so she could only find ways to avoid it. In the attack of the tide of demon beasts, she used various footwork and body techniques to make up for the lack of a strong defensive magic weapon. Injuries were inevitable, but Shi Shanshan was the one who made the fastest progress in her body technique. When the women saw it, they were also inspired and put away their own protective magic weapons. They would not use them unless their lives were most directly threatened. Wasn't this the best opportunity to practice their evasion and defense? Everyone was a character who could take charge of one side. Under this kind of attack that was close to the limit, everyone was growing at an unprecedented speed. It was not necessarily that the improvement of the cultivation base was fast, but in terms of combat experience, it was incomparable in any way. The only one who did not join in the slaughter was elder brother Li Qing. In addition to arranging a permanent formation at the entrance and exit, he also carried dozens of formation flags that had been refined long ago. When everyone was fighting, he would unfold the formation flags in front of everyone, forming a temporary camp for everyone to rest during the battle. The demon continent always had to be explored, and it was impossible to stay in the same place. Elder brother Li Cheng's active formation flags allowed everyone to get farther and farther away from the entrance and exit, and the demonic energy they had to face in front of them was getting stronger and stronger. Chapter 2107. The real demon continent was completely filled with demonic energy, and as far as the eye could see, everything looked black. Whether it was the land, the rivers, the rocks, or even the plants, they were all black. Even the blood that flowed out of those demon beasts was an oppressive dark red, and as long as it was exposed outside for a while, it would completely turn black. The demonic beasts that appeared were already at the level of the Earth Immortal middle stage and late stage, and their combat effectiveness was getting stronger and stronger. The number was several times more than that of the demon continent in the mortal world, and there were demonic beasts in almost every inch of space. All the growing plants, whether it was trees, grass, or vines, were all carnivorous. Yang Chen's family not only had to be careful of the demonic beasts rushing from all directions, but they also had to be careful of all kinds of demonic plants that were everywhere. There were even tiny demonic insects everywhere, and the battle was extremely dangerous. Compared with the demon continent in the mortal world, it was 10,000 times more dangerous here. Even the tiniest and most inconspicuous bug could be a deadly fiend. No one could ignore it, and no one dared to ignore it. Even Big Brother Li Qing, who seemed to be the most leisurely, turned on the formation flag directly when he was walking, forcing all the nearby demonic beasts away. He didn't know how Big Brother Li Qing's formation was arranged, but it could effectively expel the demonic energy. At least within the scope of the formation, the land and rivers could be restored to their original color. But as soon as they left, they would soon be attacked by the demonic energy and turn black again. Yang Chen didn't know where the demonic energy came from. He only knew that the place with the denser the demonic energy should be closer to the answer. So everyone's goal was also the direction with the densest demonic energy. Everyone fought harder than fighting in the demonic tribulation in the spiritual world. After all, the target of the crazy demon beasts was very obvious. As long as they targeted the target, they would be careful to guard against an attack. Unlike here, even the most delicate grass under their feet had to be guarded against, and the mental fatigue was far more than that of the demonic tribulation in the spiritual world. If it weren't for the fact that everyone had the spiritual awareness of the golden immortal level, it would be impossible for them to survive this level of attack. In Yang Chen's sea of consciousness, most of the power of the golden immortal tribulation was absorbed by the black bracelet, and Yang Chen could relax a little. At least under the dual effect of the golden body secret art and the golden bell, Yang Chen didn't have to worry about his safety for the time being. In this way, the speed of the journey became slow, just like an ordinary person in the mortal world who was hurrying on foot. They would only walk dozens or hundreds of miles a day. They didn't know how many corpses of demonic beasts were left along the way. They didn't even have the time and opportunity to collect the demonic beads from the bodies of these demonic beasts. After a day, everyone had to enter the protective range of Big Brother Li Cheng's formation flag to rest. Even Madame Feng Hua and Zhou Xianying, who were at the heaven immortal level, could not bear it. Zhou Xianying was the most efficient as she could in this kind of battle. Others could only use their natal magic weapons to kill them one by one or a few, but Zhou Xianying's zither music could kill a large number of people. As long as it was within the range of the sound wave, it would be her target of attack. This also led to Zhou Xianying occupying a large area in the periphery. What made Zhou Xianying feel the most tempered effect was that Yang Chen asked her to not forget to distinguish between the surrounding enemies and friends when playing the killing sound. She also had to occasionally play some songs to cheer for her own people, which was very difficult. But the more difficult it was, the more Zhou Xianying liked it. If it was just a simple battle, it would be too easy for her, a level 6 Heaven Immortal expert, to kill a large number of Earth Immortal level demonic beasts with the Heavenly Phoenix zither modified by Big Brother Li Qing. Only this way, which still needed to distinguish between enemies and friends, could let her achieve the purpose of tempering. This battle lasted for a few months, and everyone walked tens of thousands of miles in the direction of the rich Devil Qi. The Devil Qi was getting richer, and the realm of the demonic beasts was getting higher and higher. Demonic beasts at the peak of the Earth Immortal level began to appear. These demonic beasts at the peak of the Earth Immortal level had a combat power that was no less than that of ordinary middle stage or even late stage Heaven Immortal experts in the spiritual world. Especially when all the demonic beasts swarmed them, everyone felt the pressure like a mountain. After a battle, everyone was always wounded. Even if there were no wounds, the robes on their bodies could not be intact. Fortunately, Yang Chen was one of the best alchemists, and the healing pills he carried with him were enough to let everyone recover after a rest, and there was no need to worry about disfigurement. At this position, everyone was almost at their limit. There was no way forward. Unless everyone had another breakthrough, they could only stay in this area for a while. Yang Chen was also in a cold sweat. The demonic beasts here were so powerful. If there were beasts of this level on the demon continent back then, it was estimated that the entire mortal world would have been occupied by demonic beasts, and there would not be many cultivators left. In fact, without this level of demonic beasts, if the ultimate demonic vine was not bound in the core formation of the demon continent at that time, and could leave the demon continent, the mortal world would also be plunged into misery and suffering. What was the purpose of the Zhao family to create a demon continent with great difficulty? Was it just to give the Zhao family and the cultivators of all parties a place to gain experience? Or was there a deeper purpose? So far, Yang Chen has no clue. Do you think the Mountain River geographical map can collect a small world of this level? When Yang Chen was resting, Li Cheng sat next to Yang Chen and suddenly asked Yang Chen a question that sounded very simple. I can only say that it is possible. Yang Chen's third primordial spirit was the spirit of the Mountain River geographical map, and he had the most say about the Mountain River geographical map. Yang Chen also came to such an ambiguous conclusion based on his understanding of the Mountain River geographical map and his understanding of the demon continent these days. However, the demonic qi here is so abundant, even if the Mountain River geographical map absorbs and integrates this small world, what should be done with this demonic qi? After Yang Chen answered, he also asked his own question. These days, the 9 nether flying sword and the 9th water flying sword simply let go of their stomachs and ate fiercely. They didn't know how much demonic qi they had swallowed, but the demonic qi in this world showed no sign of decreasing at all. What the 2 flying swords absorbed was nothing more than a drop in the bucket. Then what do you think this demonic qi is? Li Cheng did not directly answer Yang Chen's question, but asked him a fundamental question first. What is demonic qi? Yang Chen was also taken aback. He had absorbed a lot of demonic qi over the years, but he never thought about what demonic qi was. Isn't demonic qi just demonic qi? Chapter 2108. This is the filth between heaven and earth. Li Cheng didn't expect Yang Chen to be able to answer. After asking, he waited for Yang Chen to think for a while, and he began to answer to himself. The filth between heaven and earth? Yang Chen didn't understand for a long time, and looked at Li Cheng with a puzzled gaze. As the girls listened to their conversation, they also focused their attention on them. The obsessions of all kinds of creatures, the collection of negative emotions, plus the negative aura between heaven and earth, gathered together, is this demonic energy. Li Cheng tried to make his answer simple and easy to understand. People have negative emotions, which is easy to understand. The same is true for creatures, but there is also a negative aura between heaven and earth? This was the first time everyone had heard of it. Which world? Yang Chen keenly grasped the key point and asked, What do you think? Li Cheng did not answer, but asked another question. But the answer was already exposed in this question that he disdained to answer. Our world. Although Yang Chen couldn't believe it, he still said the answer that he didn't want to guess the most and didn't want to come true. This time, Li Cheng did not deny it and nodded directly. Yang Chen took a breath of cold air directly. No wonder this demon continent could be guided by a master to a spatial connection point. It turned out to be related to his original world. Thinking about it, it made sense. If the 2 worlds were unrelated, how could they be connected so easily? If they could really unite the 2 unrelated worlds, how strong a master would that be? Did such a master still need to work so hard to arrange like the Zhao family? Directly dominate the world, and the heavenly court can't escape the rule. The reason why he took a breath of cold air was that Yang Chen thought of another more important problem: balance. Whether it is a living thing or a dead thing, as long as it exists, it must abide by a balance. If human beings can't balance positive emotions and negative emotions, they will directly become a madman. Everything in heaven and earth is the same, and that world is the same. If Yang Chen didn't guess wrong, this demon continent was the other side of the balance of his original world. Or to put it more clearly, if the original world was positive, this world was negative. But the demonic energy here was so strong and so terrifying, but Yang Chen did not feel the same positive aura in his own world. This has clearly shown that the two worlds are already unbalanced. He didn't know what caused this imbalance, but this imbalance had really appeared. Heaven is divided into black and white, Tao is divided into yin and yang. Li Cheng's voice slowly sounded. If there is Tao, there is naturally demon. If there is Tao cultivator, there will be demon cultivator. Fenghua's cultivation method, isn't it a demonic cultivator? Yang Chen felt that he was covered in cold sweat and couldn't help but ask. Just a little bit, far from it. Li Cheng smiled disdainfully and replied, "What kind of cultivation do you think is considered a demonic cultivator? The real demon cultivator is to absorb the demonic energy and yin energy between heaven and earth. Do you really think killing a few more innocent people and using some evil means is demon cultivator?" Big Brother Li Cheng's words rushed into Yang Chen's ears like a golden bell and rushed into the ears of the women. "Fenghua, don't you feel that after using the glamorous spirit method here, the effect is much better?" Li Cheng turned to Lady Fenghua and the others. Lady Fenghua thought about it carefully and looked at her apprentices. Everyone nodded slowly. She thought that it was because all of them had improved, but she never thought that there were other reasons. Then what's going on here? Yang Chen was eager to know the answer and asked quickly. "It's the wishful thinking of a certain senior," Big Brother Li Chen said helplessly. "She tried her best to send all these demonic energy to this world to make our world a little better. The effect in the early stage is indeed like this, and our world is indeed a lot better. But as time went on, the two worlds became more and more unbalanced." Yang Chen continued Big Brother Li Cheng's words. "So it caused the demonic energy here to be so thick that it's impossible to achieve a simple balance, right?" "That's right." Li Cheng nodded. At the beginning, the ancestors of the Zhao family also realized this problem, so they tried to connect the two worlds a little. They wanted to rely on the mutual connection to slowly infiltrate and influence each other, and as time went on, they finally reached a balance. So, the Zhao family still had good intentions? Yang Chen asked in confusion. If the Zhao family really did such a good thing, Big Brother Li Cheng definitely wouldn't be so disgusted with the Zhao family and watch them be besieged by the major sect. Senior's idea is good, but unfortunately some unfilial descendants completely misunderstood the original intention of the ancestors. Li Cheng said slowly. They saw the huge benefits here, and even saw the opportunity to occupy both worlds. There are some good things that just need to be slightly modified to immediately become a huge disaster, isn't that right? So that's how it is. Yang Chen didn't need to know the details of the matter to understand where Big Brother Li Cheng's disgust towards the Zhao family came from. Is there a way to solve it? Yang Chen didn't ask about the details and only asked this question. No matter how big the problem was, as long as there was a way to solve it, then it wasn't a problem. Me? There's no way. Li Cheng shook his head. Hearing this answer, Yang Chen's heart sank. Even though he knew that the imbalance in his previous life didn't happen until he died, such an impact would still last for a long time. Perhaps in the long future, it would be a disaster that couldn't be resolved. The reason why the heavenly court could be overthrown might be because those big figures were busy resolving the crisis and ignored the movements of the cultivators, which was why the sneak attack succeeded. The more Yang Chen thought about it, the more likely it was. This was also the best reason that could explain why the impossible had happened in the end. If even Big Brother Li Qing couldn't solve this problem, then what should Yang Chen do? In his previous life, Yang Chen didn't have the chance to come into contact with such a big matter. Now, he didn't even have a clue. But, just as Yang Chen was racking his brains, Big Brother Li Qing said, "I can't solve it, but it doesn't mean you can't solve it." Me? Yang Chen pointed at his nose, as if confirming that Big Brother Li Qing wasn't wrong, and asked in surprise, "I can solve it? If you do your best, there's a chance." Li Qing nodded heavily, confirming Yang Chen's doubt. "But it's only a chance, no one can guarantee that you can solve it. Everything depends on you." Chapter 2109. Yang Chen began to ponder. To be honest, Yang Chen was a little unhappy. Big Brother Li Qing said this. It was definitely not an impromptu idea. In other words, everything was consciously guided by Big Brother Li Qing to the present point of Yang Chen. Big Brother Li Qing would not harm him, Yang Chen could be sure of this. But sometimes Yang Chen would definitely not like that everything about him was arranged. This was what made him a little uncomfortable. Seeing that Yang Chen was in contemplation, Big Brother Li Qing was very tactful and didn't speak anymore. He slowly walked to the side and sat quietly waiting for Yang Chen to figure it out. Yang Chen. At this time, none of the women dared to speak easily, except for Gao Yu. Gao Yu's identity was the most special. Not only was she Yang Chen's wife, but she was also Yang Chen's master. Only she could give Yang Chen some advice at this time. Yu. Yang Chen looked up at Gao Yu and reached out to hold her in his arms. Gao Yu's soft body leaned on him, giving Yang Chen a warm feeling. At this time, he didn't regard Gao Yu as his master. If you feel unhappy because Big Brother Li Qing intentionally guided you to do things, Gao Yu was the person who knew Yang Chen the best. At a glance, she saw where Yang Chen's mind was. She leaned her head on Yang Chen's chest and said faintly, "Why don't you think about it from another perspective? Big Brother has helped us so much. Can't you help Big Brother do something?" A sentence woke up the dreamer, and Yang Chen drilled out of the horn in an instant. Just now, he really thought wrong. It was a very simple thing, but he thought about it in the last place that a king should think about. This was very wrong. "Big Brother, I think I understand." Yang Chen kissed Gao Yu's face gently and let go of her. He stood up and walked to Li Qing's side and sat down. He said apologetically, "I just thought wrong. What do you need me to do?" Li Qing turned to look at Yang Chen, and a smile appeared on his face. Yang Chen looked at him and smiled. The little grudge between the two of them disappeared in an instant. "You don't have to do anything deliberately." Li Qing smiled and replied, "Just continue doing what you wanted to do in the past." Yang Chen immediately understood. His family came to this place overflowing with demonic energy, wasn't it to collect this demon continent? The current goal has not changed, it is still to collect the demon continent. But where do we start now? Originally, Yang Chen's imagination was too simple. He thought that this place was at most the same level as the core of the demon continent in the mortal world. Unexpectedly, it was more than 10,000 times worse than that year. Under such circumstances, it was almost impossible to collect them. "Let's contaminate this place with your aura first," Li Qing answered directly, not beating around the bush. Things had already come to this point, so he couldn't afford to be deliberately mystifying anymore. "How?" Yang Chen was puzzled. "What does it mean to contaminate it with his own aura? Think about what the Zhao family did?" Li Qing didn't give the answer directly, but let Yang Chen figure it out himself. Yang Chen fell into thought again. But this time it was not because of discomfort, but because he was thinking about the Zhao family's method. Not only Yang Chen, but the women were also thinking after listening to Big Brother Li Qing's word. What did the Zhao family do? Yang Chen's mind drifted through the Zhao family that he had settled one by one, and he pondered one by one. It was not unusual for the mortal world to control Long Xian as their own sect. The arrangement of the demon continent should be the matter of the ancestors of the Zhao family, and the original intention was probably to balance the two worlds. In terms of communication, Yang Chen had opened a larger entrance, which was much faster than the original infiltration of a single point. However, that method obviously wouldn't work. The influence of the demonic energy was too great, and the cultivation of the cultivators in the mortal world was too low. If the demonic energy spread completely, I am afraid that not only the cultivators, but even those mortals would suffer. Not only humans, but all the creatures in the mortal world would suffer. He didn't know which predecessor's beautiful and naive idea had caused the two sides to be unbalanced for too long. One side of the world was constantly consuming the righteous energy of heaven and earth, while the other side was constantly accumulating demonic energy. The current situation could be described with an inappropriate word. It could be called the decline of the Tao and the growth of the demon continent. The formation that sealed the entire demon continent should have been done by the ancestors of the Zhao family as a last resort. The open space point could not be closed. He could only restrain all the demonic energy in the demon continent and let the demon continent become the most dangerous place to practice. If it weren't for Yang Chen refining the core of the demon continent and continuing to absorb the demonic energy, maybe as time went by, the demonic energy would become more and more profound, and the strength of the demonic beasts would become stronger and stronger. In the end, the seal would be broken and the mortal world would be plunged into misery and suffering. In this way, Yang Chen did a good thing inadvertently. But at this time, Yang Chen suddenly thought of a possibility and turned to Big Brother Li Cheng and asked, "Big Brother, did you leave the secret art of refining the space there?" "Yes." Seeing Yang Chen's question, Li Cheng nodded generously and admitted it directly. If Yang Chen didn't ask, he wouldn't say it, but if Yang Chen asked, he wouldn't hide it. "Why doesn't Big Brother cultivate by himself?" Yang Chen asked curiously. "Big Brother's cultivation is so much higher than mine, there is no need to make the younger brother work so hard, right? Do you think I don't want to cultivate?" Li Cheng gave Yang Chen a white look and said in an annoyed tone, "If I can cultivate the three purities' secret art, do you think I will give you the opportunity?" Turned out to be so. Yang Chen finally understood where all his good luck came from. It turned out to be because of the Tao Ancestor's three purities secret art. The Tao Ancestor is really the Tao Ancestor, the arrangement is really flawless. Then the ultimate demonized demon vine on the demon continent was not killed by Big Brother, right? Yang Chen thought of another possibility. When he was on the demon continent, he had just touched the core, and the ultimate demonized demon vine reached the end of its life. Isn't this too much of a coincidence? After thinking about it, it seems that only this possibility can explain it. If I don't kill it, can you come back alive? Li Cheng still had the same attitude. If you don't ask, I won't say, but if you ask, I will tell you, provided that you can think about it and ask. I say. Yang Chen also smiled bitterly. I thought it was my luck. It turned out that all this luck was given by Big Brother. Yang Chen and Li Cheng met in the demon continent, which was also the place where Li Cheng appeared for the first time. Turned out that everything was done consciously by Li Cheng, and it also created everything for Yang Chen. No wonder everything was so coincidental and natural, but it turned out to be the arrangement of Big Brother Li Cheng. In this way, everything could be explained clearly, and Yang Chen also understood the arrangement of Big Brother Li Cheng in the mortal world. Chapter 21:10. The Zhao family had already been destroyed in the mortal world, so it was impossible for them to make any arrangements. Since Brother Li Cheng asked Yang Chen to refer to the Zhao family's arrangements, he could only think of a solution based on what happened in the spiritual realm. The first thing that Yang Chen came into contact with the Zhao family after coming to the spiritual realm should be to remove the seals of those experts. What was the purpose of the Zhao family sealing those experts? As Brother Li Cheng said, Was it to be tainted with the aura of the Zhao family? But they were in the spiritual realm, so what kind of aura would they be tainted with? After carefully recalling the locations of the seals, a huge map appeared in Yang Chen's mind. It connected the 9 seals to form a huge area. Then, the area where the demonic beasts of the demonic tribulation were wreaking havoc flashed across Yang Chen's mind. When the two overlapped, Yang Chen immediately found that the two areas only overlapped about 80%. It seemed that there was not much direct relationship between the two areas, otherwise they should overlap more. Just as he was about to give up the idea, Yang Chen suddenly thought of another point. It should be known that Yang Chen had removed the seals hundreds of years earlier than he remembered, which also caused the demonic tribulation to happen hundreds of years earlier. Based on the normal time of removing the seals and breaking out of the demonic tribulation in his previous life, what would the situation be like? The area where the demonic tribulation was wreaking havoc in the spiritual realm in his memory appeared in Yang Chen's mind. When it overlapped with the area of the 9 sealing formations, he immediately saw the problem. If he did not pursue the seamless connection, the area where the demonic tribulation was wreaking havoc in the spiritual realm in his previous life overlapped more than 95% with the sealed areas. The demonic tribulation covered a larger area, but the largest area was only 1,000 miles away from the sealed areas. Compared to the area that was calculated in millions of miles, a mere 1,000 miles was simply negligible. Could it be that this was tainted with the aura of the Zhao family that Brother Li Qing mentioned? How did it get tainted? Since they were tainted with the aura, why didn't they stay longer? Let the demonic tribulation wreak havoc longer? All of a sudden, Yang Chen thought of a possibility. Brother Li Qing had already said that the younger generation of the Zhao family had a huge ambition. They were not tainted with the aura of the Zhao family itself, but the aura of another world. Big Brother Li Qing let the demon continent be contaminated with his own aura for collection, but the Zhao family thought bigger. They wanted to contaminate the spiritual world with their aura and collect the spiritual world. As for how to be tainted with the aura, it was naturally those crazy beasts. For hundreds of years, crazy demon beasts wreaked havoc in the spiritual realm, cultivating and slaughtering. This was the aura of the demon beast space. Even if they were killed by cultivators and their corpses were left in this world, their aura would still remain in this world. This was what it meant to be truly tainted with the aura of the world. This was done in preparation for them to fuse and refine the spiritual realm. It was just like how Big Brother Li Qing made him leave his aura in this world just to refine and collect it. The Zhao clan was indeed ambitious. They actually wanted to take over the spiritual realm. After all, the Zhao family was to the spirit family. After all, although the demon continent was terrifying, it was not a problem compared to their Xian Immortal or even Golden Immortal masters. Thinking of the problem, Yang Chen naturally asked. At the same time, Yang Chen also wanted to verify whether his idea was correct or not. You are right. Brother Li Qing nodded directly in the face of Yang Chen's question. They do think so. As for the demon continent you mentioned, do you think the masters of the Zhao family in the mortal world have the ability to do this? Li Qing paused, giving Yang Chen time to think, and then asked with a smile. The highest master in the mortal world was the human immortal level, or a human immortal level master who had not crossed the tribulation. It was simply impossible to refine a world. Not to mention refining the demon continent, even a bigger space immortal's cave was extremely difficult. The largest cave house in the mortal world was only tens of thousands of miles, and 50,000 miles was already the limit. If they wanted to refine the demon continent, they didn't even need to think about it. Even if the Zhao family already had Long Xian, a 4th-grade Earth immortal at that time, Long Xian, who had not crossed the tribulation and had no awakened talent, wanted to accomplish something that even Yang Chen felt was unlikely. Wasn't that a joke? There are many masters in the Zhao family in the spiritual world. Yang Chen just wanted to ask this, and he had already thought of the answer. There were many masters in the spiritual world, but they couldn't return to the mortal world and couldn't remove the core of the demon continent, so naturally they couldn't have any ideas about the demon continent. Later, the core of the demon continent was refined by Yang Chen and brought to the spiritual world. There was no more trouble with the demonic energy in the mortal world, and there was no connection point with the demon continent. No matter how strong the Zhao family was in the spiritual world, before they dealt with Yang Chen, they couldn't touch the demon continent. However, the Zhao family was lucky. They found an entrance to the monster beast space, which allowed their masters to enter in large numbers, which gave them a chance. There was no need to ask about the seal of the trial ground. It must have been made by the ancestors of the Zhao family, similar to the demon continent, except that the monster beast space was aimed at the side of the spiritual world. Have you figured it out? Li Cheng looked at Yang Chen's expression and knew that he had figured out a lot, so he asked with a smile. Understood. Yang Chen nodded. So the main focus of the Zhao family is now in the monster beast space, and most of the masters are concentrated in it. The affairs of the spiritual world are handed over to some juniors to deal with, so the major sect can take advantage of it. Yes, that's it. Li Cheng was very satisfied with Yang Chen's answer. It had to be said that the sworn brother he recognized did not disappoint his cultivation. You discovered the seal formation in advance and unlocked the seal, causing the demonic tribulation of the spiritual world to occur hundreds of years in advance, and the time was shortened by hundreds of years. Li Cheng continued. The arrangements of the Zhao family for dozens of generations almost became a bubble, and the effect that the demonic tribulation wanted to achieve was also a lot worse, which bought us a lot of time. We are luckier than the Zhao family in that the level of the demon world is a bit lower than the spiritual world, and the refining difficulty is relatively much lower. Li Cheng summed up the advantages that Yang Chen had now. In addition, there are not as many cultivators in the demon world as in the spiritual world, and they will not interfere with your actions. You don't have to worry about the cultivator sect going against you. If we can refine the demon world in advance, it is equivalent to taking drastic measures and shattering the Zhao family's wishful thinking. Li Cheng pointed to Yang Chen. Even if they successfully refine the spiritual world, without the demon world, the world they want is not complete. We still have a fighting chance. No. Big brother Li Cheng was right, but Yang Chen suddenly thought of a huge flaw and hurriedly said, the demon world is not just the connection point we have now, there should be another one. Chapter 21:11. Yang Chen suddenly remembered that there was another connection point between the original world and the demon beast world. In order to send the demonic chi to the demon beast world, there was always a need for an opening, and that opening was another connection point. If Yang Chen's guess was right, that connection point should be the place with the densest demonic chi, which was the goal that they couldn't get close to for the time being. Not only did Yang Chen think of this problem, but the women also thought of it. Everyone looked in that direction, and no one spoke. That point is not in the spiritual world, nor in the mortal world. Li Cheng fully exerted his know-it-all ability and directly told the answer to Yang Chen and the others. Not in the mortal world, nor in the spiritual world, then it was in the immortal world. After knowing this answer, Yang Chen had a very speechless feeling for a while. He thought that the Zhao family had no chance to get in touch with the entrance to the demon beast world, but he didn't expect that the more powerful people of the Zhao family would have a better chance. Don't worry, they can't get in touch. Li Cheng smiled and motioned to Yang Chen not to worry. They didn't have a chance before, but now the heavenly court is controlled by the Xiantian sect. The Zhao family has no chance. Besides, it's not a place that can be easily approached. Big brother Li Cheng added, just like the immortal beheading platform, there is no way out. No matter how powerful the experts are, they can only look at it and sigh. Unless the Zhao family unifies the immortal world in a short time, they have no chance at all. Big brother Li Cheng said so. It meant that there was no problem with the entrance to the immortal world for the time being. The problem in front of Yang Chen was how to refine the demon beast world as soon as possible, so as to get ahead of the Zhao family and destroy their wishful thinking. However, if we don't hurry up now, their experts may slowly find an opportunity. Although there was no problem for the time being, it didn't mean that the situation was static. Big Brother Li Qing still spoke of the urgency of the matter. The worst that can get close to it is an expert above the great principal golden immortal. Once they come in, there will be nothing for you. It could be said that Yang Chen was now in a race with the Zhao family. Either Yang Chen refined the demon world first, or the experts of the Zhao family came in and Yang Chen failed on the verge of success. There were no other possibilities. Even if Yang Chen was robbed halfway through refining it, it would still end tragically. No matter how powerful Yang Chen was impossible for him to compete with an expert who had surpassed a perfected golden immortal in this realm. If those masters in the Mountain River geographical map are sent here, will they be contaminated with the aura of the Mountain River geographical map? Time suddenly became urgent. Yang Chen did not have the mood to delay and asked directly. Yes. Li Qing nodded. But he immediately began to question. But those experts have left the Mountain River geographical map. Can you still guarantee that you can control them? There were many experts in the Mountain River geographical map, and there were many Xian immortal experts. The problem was that in the Mountain River geographical map, those experts were limited by the map and could only obey. But if they were out of the Mountain River geographical map, then they would be like fish in the vast sea, birds flying in the vast sky. No one would be willing to be a slave. This method was unlikely to be possible in a short time. Yang Chen could only think of another way. While thinking about it, Yang Chen thought of another question and asked, if I follow the Zhao family's method and slowly let the demon world be contaminated with the aura of the Mountain River geographical map, how long will it take for the whole arrangement? When he thought of it, Yang Chen was not afraid that Li Qing would be bored and asked again. I'm afraid it will take at least 10,000 years. Li Qing estimated a little, and then gave an approximate number. Although he didn't dare to say that it was 100% accurate, compared to the Zhao clan's arrangements, which took hundreds of generations and millions of years, it was much shorter. This was because the demon world was a big level lower than the spiritual world. If it was the demon world, it was estimated that it would be like the Zhao family, and the future generations would have to work hard for this goal. Obviously, Yang Chen did not have this time. Since the arrangement of the spiritual world has been destroyed in half, the Zhao family will definitely speed up the pace and step up to find a way from the immortal world. It is not a secret that there is no demonic energy seeping out of the mortal demon continent, and they must already know it. This way won't work, and Yang Chen must take a faster and more effective way. Big Brother Li Qing just said that the Zhao family is just a reference. Big Brother, why is there no heavenly tribulation here? Yang Chen thought of a very strange question, so he asked Li Qing for advice. He believed that Li Qing must know something. Because although this is barely a world, it is artificially separated. Li Qing knew it and replied without thinking, that Senior does not want the demonized monsters who rely on demonic energy to improve their cultivation to ascend to the spiritual world and the immortal world to interfere with the original world. The same is true for the monster space in the spiritual world. Li Qing would explain it clearly if he wanted to. It's just that the monster world in the spiritual world is more special, and the entrance and exit are larger. Can the method of refining the exit of the space be used to refine this world? Yang Chen asked again after closing his eyes and thinking for a while. Yes. Li Qing still nodded and gave an affirmative answer. But it's just a one-person high exit that consumes the third primordial spirit to drive several creatures in the Mountain River geographical map for a year. You can calculate how long it will take to refine the whole world. Shrimps eat big fish? There is no need to calculate, it must be an astronomical number of years. Even longer than the 10,000 years that Big Brother Li Qing just said. Is there any other way to speed up this process? As the saying goes, big fish eats small fish and small fish eats shrimp. Now Big Brother Li Cheng's description is that the shrimps want to eat the big fish, which is completely the opposite. The Mountain River geographical map is now just a huge Immortal's cave house, and there is just a spirit that knows a little bit about the heavenly law. It is still far from it. Even if there is no heavenly tribulation in the demon world, the two sides are not on the same level. Relying on the Immortal's cave house to eat a world, it is really like a small snake swallowing an elephant. Merit chapter? The secret of the merit appeared in Yang Chen's mind. It seems that this secret is omnipotent. Will it have any effect if it is used on this? Yang Chen can be sure that the merit will definitely be used, but whether it will bring about a fundamental change, that is another matter. The way to solve the problem is by no means to rely solely on the merit. Big Brother, if you have any way, just say it. My husband is frowning now. Sun Qingxue looked at Yang Chen pondering over there, and couldn't help but ask Li Cheng. She is young, and Big Brother Li Cheng also spoils her very much, so it is very appropriate to say these words. This is a test. Big Brother Li Cheng did not directly answer Sun Qingxue, but said this sentence. Originally, everyone thought that Big Brother Li Cheng would definitely tell everyone, but they did not expect such an answer from his mouth, which surprised everyone. Chapter 21:12. Don't be surprised, your husband can't always do things according to my way. Brother Li Cheng looked at the surprised eyes of the women and couldn't help laughing. I only told you the methods that others have used in the past. What to do is up to you to choose. If you can't come up with a better way, I'm afraid that the situation that we succeeded in delaying the Zhao family will soon be reversed by the Zhao family. Yang Chen seemed to have known that Brother Li Cheng would answer like this, so she didn't seem as surprised as the women. From the beginning of knowing Brother Li Cheng to the present, everything was Brother Li Cheng's conscious cultivation. Yang Chen knew very well that Brother Li Cheng couldn't help him think of everything. Sometimes when he faced some situations alone, he always had to come up with a solution. The Zhao family's method, the merit chapter, the small shrimp eating the big fish, one concept after another flew through Yang Chen's mind. Later, all kinds of concepts such as cultivation, alchemy, experience and so on flew together, making Yang Chen's mind a mess. In the chaos, Yang Chen suddenly thought of a clue, a slim possibility. If it could be realized, he might be able to seize a glimmer of hope in this urgent situation. Regardless of whether the method was really effective, if he wanted to know the real effect, he could only try it. Just thinking about it would not give him any conclusion. Yang Chen quickly sorted out his own thoughts, and then slowly said his own method, hoping to listen to Big Brother Li Cheng's opinion. If he also supported it, then he could give it a try. When Yang Chen talked about his method, all the women were lost in thought. After thinking about it for a long time, Li Cheng nodded slightly. Maybe we can give it a try. Even Brother Li Cheng supported it. The pressure in Yang Chen's heart was a lot less, and he had a little more confidence when experimenting. So far, everyone has a clear understanding of the demon world. Next, killing is only a little good for personal cultivation, but it is of no help for refining the entire demon world, so everyone unanimously decided to return to the Mountain River geographical map first. If he didn't train and just hurried along, his speed would be many times faster. Big Brother Li Cheng wrapped everyone with the sea-pouring jasper cup, and no demonized monster could detect it. It only took a few days to easily return to the entrance opened by Yang Chen, and then directly return to the Mountain River geographical map. Yang Chen, Li Cheng, Gong Sunling, and the third primordial spirit began to communicate together. Most of the women were repairing in the Mountain River geographical map, adjusting the fatigue and habits caused by the killing in the demon world for more than a year. Tao Junkie wrapped everyone with the sea-pouring jasper cup and rushed back to Chunyang Palace on the iron-winged eagle. This time, when Yang Chun and his family returned to Chunyang Palace, outsiders didn't know anything. They thought that they had been collecting herbs outside. Inside the Chunyang Palace, only the head of the palace and a few other core executives knew about it, and others were completely unaware. Palace Master Zhang Jiao and the others also knew that the situation was urgent, so they did not leak any wind and quietly covered up their traces. In the Mountain River geographical map, Yang Chen's family was still near the entrance. Yang Chen waved the beheading immortal blade and began to strive to expand the exit. After all, it was a space connection point. Even with the help of Xiao Tian, Yang Chen himself needed to make great efforts. With Yang Chen's current strength, he could only cut open the space connection point 8 times before he would be exhausted. He didn't know how many times more difficult it was to kill a demonized monster. Gong Sunling and the third primordial spirit concentrated on refining the connection point that Yang Chen had just expanded. Not only that, while concentrating the power of hundreds of millions of creatures in the Mountain River geographical map, the third primordial spirit also used the merit chapter, and the merit of Yang Chen flowed out. Every breath, there would be a ring of merit flowing out, and it was consumed in the process of refining. With the help of the merit chapter, the refining process was as fast as flying. It took a year for the previous hole that was more than a person's height, but now it only took 10 days for Yang Chen to expand the hole several times, accelerating more than 10 times. Expanding this entrance was just a means, not the end. What Yang Chen really wanted to do was to send the small Immortals caves that had been merged with the Mountain River geographical map to the opposite demon world to detonate. Since the scattered cultivation and death of the monsters were all contaminated with the aura of that world, then the space in the Mountain River geographical map would be directly detonated in the demon world, and the detonated area should also be regarded as contaminated with the aura of the Mountain River geographical map. Yang Chen did not think about refining the entire demon world at once, but only focused on refining the area of the demon world affected by the explosion. The power of the explosion of the space magic weapon was large enough, and if it could effectively make a small area with the same aura, it would be relatively simple to refine. If the one-time refining method of whale swallowing didn't work, then it would be replaced with a small piece of nibbling. This demon world for Yang Chen was a super Immortals cave that was more advanced and countless times larger than the Super Immortals cave. In the end, it was still a matter of conceptual common sense. In the past, whether it was refining or fusing the space magic weapon, it was the beginning of the whole process. Even the Zhao family was the same. They wanted to assimilate most of the spiritual world, and then start refining and fusing the whole. They never thought about fusing it bit by bit. Of course, the Zhao family's behavior was because of the obstruction and resistance of the cultivators of the various sect in the spiritual world, but it may not be because of the inherent common sense in everyone's mind. This method was proposed by Yang Chen, but it was extremely operable. Anyway, Yang Chen and Gong Sunling had enough time on the space magic weapon, and they had purchased tens of thousands of magic weapons, one by one separated from the Mountain River geographical map to the demon world to explode and assimilate, and then refined again. In this way of nibbling, they could also encroach a lot of territory. From small to large, at first, they started with the smallest medicine garden and manor of a few miles, then began to explode and assimilate, and then refined. After refining a part of it, the space hole was also big enough, and then they used the larger 10 miles manor. Every time they refined a bit of the demon world, the Mountain River geographical map would have an advantage, and the demon world would have less space. Adding up to a lot, there would always be a day of success. If it was the turn of the Super Immortals cave to explode and assimilate, then presumably the refining of the entire demon world would also reach a critical moment of qualitative change. At that time, it was not impossible to refine it as a whole. Now everyone had unified the name, and the demon world was simplified to the demon world by Yang Chen and Li Cheng. The connection point between the Mountain River geographical map and the demon world, had been expanded by Yang Chen to a mile. After the creatures in the mountain river geographical map simply adapted to the demonic energy, the process of nibbling and refining would begin. Everyone was ready. Chapter 21:13. It took Yang Chen half a year to expand the big hole, which was more than a mile long. Every slash of Yang Chen was made with all his strength. Even though his strength was infinitely close to the heaven-supporting realm, he would still feel exhausted when facing the spatial interface. At this time, no matter how high one's cultivation was, it was not as useful as this kind of solid power. Therefore, even though Yang Chen knew that Li Cheng's cultivation was much stronger than his, he did not let Li Cheng do it. Half a year of boring life, coupled with the crazy killing in the devil realm, made Yang Chen's cultivation advance by leaps and bounds in these few years, directly entering the realm of the 4th grade of the Earth Immortal. In terms of physical strength, Yang Chen was also very sure that he had entered the realm of heaven's supporting realm. While Yang Chen and his family were killing in the devil realm, the 3rd primordial spirit also happened to finish refining the last part of the super cave mansion. The 3 million kilometer super cave mansion had been completely integrated into the geographical map of mountains and rivers. Gong Xuanling's cultivation had surpassed the 8th grade of the Earth Immortal, and was infinitely close to the 9th grade of the Earth Immortal. After Yang Chen expanded the connected entrance, the 3rd primordial spirit mobilized all its power to refine it. With the help of the Merit and Virtue chapter, it only took 2 years to completely refine and control the big hole, which was more than a mile long. The geographical map of mountains and rivers had been prepared, and only needed to verify whether Yang Chen's idea was correct. Under everyone's nervous gaze, a space of about a mile on the geographical map seemed to be suddenly cut off. Except for a piece of land that was only more than 100 feet wide, the rest of it directly flew up. Under the control of the 3rd primordial spirit, it slowly entered the big hole. On the other side was the devil realm, which was surging with black gas. Boom, there was a loud noise. When the space completely entered the devil realm, it suddenly exploded into the tiniest particles, covering an area of almost the same size in the devil realm. That piece of land, which was more than 100 feet wide, was still connected to the entrance of the devil realm. His 3rd primordial spirit had already controlled all the creatures in the geographical map of mountains and rivers, and began to refine the exploded area at the entrance of the devil realm according to the method Yang Chen used to refine the space. Yang Chen's merit flew out like crazy. It was 10 times faster than when he expanded the entrance. This wasn't the time to be thrifty. He could only hope to refine it quickly. Li Cheng stared intently in that direction, and at the same time, he did his best to help the 3rd primordial spirit. As long as this method worked, it meant that the demon realm could become Yang Chen's possession, and he would no longer have to worry about the threat of the Zhao family. Everything was difficult at the beginning, especially this kind of refinement that required crossing the spatial connection points. For at least 10 days and 10 nights, the entrance to the demon realm had not changed at all. Although it was a space with a radius of about a kilometer, it wasn't refined in the same way as before. In the beginning, it was only the smallest inch of space. However, if he couldn't even refine an inch of this space after 10 days and 10 nights, then his subsequent efforts would be for naught. Li Cheng looked at the result in front of him, and seemed to sigh in disappointment. It wasn't that they didn't work hard, but this method probably wouldn't work and wouldn't be able to achieve the established goal. When the women saw Big Brother Li Cheng sigh, their disappointment was written all over their faces. They wanted to comfort their husband, but they didn't know how to start. Moreover, Yang Chen didn't seem to have completely admitted his failure. Instead, he kept staring at that side and focused on exerting his strength. Let's persuade him. Big Brother Li Cheng was in a very bad mood and didn't want to say much. He just told Gao Yu and then sat on the other side to think of other ways. Gao Yu slowly walked to Yang Chen's side. Just as she was about to speak, Yang Chen, who was fully focused on making a move, suddenly waved his hand and blocked the words she wanted to say in her throat. "I'll try again." Yang Chen didn't say much either. It was just a few words, but it expressed his determination that he hadn't given up. The communication between Yang Chen and the third primordial spirit was more convenient than that of Gong Sunling, and they quickly exchanged their feelings during the refining process. The feedback that the third primordial spirit gave to Yang Chen was that there seemed to be an invisible barrier at the entrance of the space. People could pass through, things could pass through, but the refining method couldn't pass through, which was very magical. Space couldn't be crossed, and refining was just empty talk, and the third primordial spirit couldn't do anything about it. Just as he was worried, the second primordial spirit in the Immortal Beheading Saber jumped out directly. Use the Immortal Beheading Saber to cut the Immortal Platform. The meaning of the second primordial spirit was very clear. Since space couldn't be crossed, then use the Immortal Platform in the Immortal Beheading Saber that could cut through space as a medium. Yang Chen's mind moved, and the Immortal Beheading Saber quickly appeared in his hand, instantly turning into a huge blade. With a click, the huge Immortal Beheading Saber was directly inserted between the Mountain River geographical map and the demon world. On one side was the land in the Mountain River geographical map, and on the other side was the land in the demon world. The third primordial spirit didn't say anything and directly sent the power of the Mountain River geographical map along the Immortal Beheading Saber. Yang Chen also activated the merit chapter and quickly sent a large amount of merit over, working in two ways. Li Cheng and the women watched carefully not far away, especially Li Cheng, who stared closely at the land where the Immortal Beheading Saber was inserted, staring intently. Just as everyone was looking forward to it, after countless black gas twined for a long time, the small stone next to the blade of the Immortal Beheading Saber slowly changed color and became the same as the color on the side of the Mountain River geographical map. Immediately afterward, the land around the part where the Immortal Beheading Saber was inserted also began to slowly change color. The thick black gas slowly dissipated, revealing the true appearance of the land. With this small area, the original entrance to the demon world had been separated from the 10 feet wide land, as if there was an additional connection point in the demon world. It quickly became thinner and longer, and quickly spread, connecting with that small area that was less than the size of a palm. Everyone was stimulated and excited by this scene. It was obvious that the refinement had achieved some result. Even if it was just a tiny bit, it was a breakthrough achievement. The method proposed by Yang Chen was effective. It could refine the demon world. Once this most difficult breakthrough stage was crossed, the next thing would be much simpler. Using that small palm-sized area as a base, the third primordial spirit activated the power of the Mountain River geographical map and expanded the results of the battle little by little. Every inch of territory expanded. The demon world and the Mountain River geographical map were connected by one more inch, and the connection was becoming more and more stable. When the connection was more than 10 feet, there was basically no need for the Immortal Beheading Saber to cross. However, for the sake of safety, Yang Chen still kept the Immortal Beheading Saber in its current state until this space was completely refined. The people in the Joy did not notice the passage of time. When they saw that the space had been completely refined, the connection between the Mountain River geographical map and the demon world had become a large piece that was about to fill the entire space entrance and exit. They found that a whole year had passed. Chapter 21:14. The length of time was not the most important thing to everyone. The most important thing was that Yang Chen's experiment was a success, and he had built a stable bridge for further refinement. Big Brother Li Cheng, who had not been optimistic about Yang Chen at first, was now in high spirits. Everyone could see the change in his mood, especially when Yang Chen had just experimented for more than 10 days. Big Brother Li Cheng was the most disappointed. This was not the Big Brother Li Cheng that everyone was familiar with, who had always been full of confidence in Yang Chen. Only now did he return to the original Li Qing. I knew it, I've never been wrong about you. When the third primordial spirit completed its first refinement, the first to congratulate was Big Brother Li Qing. He punched Yang Chen's shoulder, and his smile was almost blooming. I was lucky. Yang Chen was also full of joy, and also gave Big Brother Li Qing a light punch. The difference was that Li Qing did not control his strength at all, but Yang Chen was careful, afraid that he would use too much strength. The girls also came to congratulate, and everyone was happy. He had already taken a crucial step in trying to catch a big fish. He no longer only had a negligible chance of success, but he now had a concrete grasp of it. When everyone calmed down, they began to calculate the time needed for the refinement. If it took a year to refine the demon world, then even 10,000 years might not be enough to refine it. This method was not even as fast as the Zhao family's method. Don't worry, your method is ultimately just a problem of cultivation. As long as it is solved, the speed will increase rapidly. Li Qing was very optimistic about Yang Chen's method, and quickly reassured everyone. The Zhao family's method requires more than just cultivation. The entire entrance was almost full, and Yang Chen wanted to strike while the iron was hot to expand the entrance and continue, but Li Qing stopped him. Let's go to the Conch underwater palace first, and take the heavenly tribulation room. Big Brother Li Qing suggested directly. If the natives in the mountain river geographical map can go through the heavenly tribulation, their cultivation will increase rapidly, and the speed of refinement will also increase rapidly. This was true. The natives in the mountain river geographical map were at least at the gold core stage. Most of them had surpassed the nascent soul stage. There were many at the Mahayana stage. There were even worldly immortals and earthly immortals. It must be known that the number of indigenous people here was tens of billions, and there were more than millions of human immortal and earth immortal level indigenous people, which was more than what Gong Sun Ling collected from the Three River Alliance blood-killing sect and the 10,000 demon sect. Not only were there human aboriginals, but there were also a considerable number of demon aboriginals in the super cave abode. Similarly, because there was no heavenly tribulation, their cultivation could not improve quickly. Adding this part, if all of them could undergo tribulation cultivation, the level of the mountain river geographical map would probably increase by several times or even dozens of times, and the refining speed would probably be similarly accelerated. Big Brother Li Qing had proposed to take the heavenly tribulation room in the sea, which surprised Yang Chen. In the past, Big Brother Li Qing had always said to take the demon realm first, then the heavenly tribulation room. Why did he suddenly change the order this time? That's normal. I didn't think you had the confidence to take the demon realm before. Although there was only a slim chance, I still wanted to try. Li Qing did not shy away from Yang Chen's previous disdain for Yang Chen. He was not embarrassed at all. Now that you have proved that you can refine the demon realm, naturally you have to find ways to speed up the refining speed and grab the Zhao family. If there was the heavenly tribulation first, wouldn't the cultivation of the natives increase more? Yang Chen did not understand Big Brother Li Qing's thoughts and asked in confusion. You saw it too. If you didn't use the immortal beheading saber as a medium, it would be useless no matter how high the cultivation of the cultivators inside is. Li Qing shook his head and denied Yang Chen's statement. This was the truth. In the first 10 days and 10 nights there was no progress at all. That had nothing to do with the cultivation of the cultivators inside the mountain river geographical map. Big Brother, what will happen if we don't make any progress in the demon realm? Yang Chen did not want to ask, but he could not help but ask. Everything we've done in the past was just to delay the Zhao family's full activation as much as possible, giving us a chance to catch our breath. Li Qing replied without hiding, but if the fundamental problem is not solved, it's just a matter of time. The final result will not change. If you can't solve the problem of the demon realm, then I'm afraid I will give up on you. Li Cheng did not hide his previous plans. Although I can kill the Zhao family at all costs and delay the time again, I still can't completely solve the problem of the demonic qi imbalance. In the end, everyone still can't escape. So, if that's the case, I will give up everything and no longer care about these worldly affairs. As for you guys... At this point, Li Cheng paused and looked at Yang Chen and the women. He smiled. Maybe I will make you the most honorable cultivators in the world, maybe I will make you the strongest cultivators, or maybe I won't care about anything and let you fend for yourselves. I don't know. All of this has nothing to do with me. Although Big Brother Li Cheng's words were a bit ruthless, Yang Chen knew very well that these were his true thoughts. At that time, Big Brother Li Cheng could really do such a thing. The big trouble now was not the mysterious Heaven sect or the Zhao family, but the demonic qi imbalance. This was the most fundamental contradiction. Even if the Zhao family's approach could solve some problems, the fundamental problem would not be solved. As Big Brother Li Cheng said, it was just a matter of time. However, since Yang Chen could solve the problem by taking the demon realm, couldn't the Zhao family do the same? This was what Yang Chen could not understand. Big Brother, haven't you thought about supporting the Zhao family? Yang Chen didn't seem to care about Big Brother Li Cheng's ruthlessness. Instead, he asked with interest, they are well prepared. If Big Brother supports them, maybe they can completely solve the problem? Supporting Yang Chen was support, and supporting the Zhao family was also support. As long as they could solve the problem, why would they care about who solved the problem? Big Brother Li Cheng shouldn't be the kind of person with a sense of justice, right? The Zhao family's actions will only make the problem more troublesome. Li Cheng shook his head and was very pessimistic about the Zhao family. Regardless of whether their starting point is good or bad, the key is that the Zhao family doesn't have the three purities art. They don't have a cultivator who can cultivate to the seventh realm in a short time. No matter how hard they try, they won't be able to solve the fundamental problem. Chapter 21:15. Listening to Big Brother Li Cheng's words, Yang Chen suddenly felt a little scared. If I can't solve the problem, Big Brother Li Cheng will give up? This sentence was so serious that Yang Chen couldn't believe it. What made Yang Chen even more unbelievable was that Big Brother Li Cheng said that the three purities secret art was the key to solving the problem. Big Brother, if I can't do it, why will you give up? If this question was not asked clearly, Yang Chen would definitely not be able to sleep. In any case, there must be an answer. I have tried my best. There is no need to work hard for other people's mistake. Li Cheng was not afraid of Yang Chen's thoughts, and he did not hide his way of doing things at all. Besides, if I have to do it, that person can't afford to pay. After saying this, Big Brother Li Cheng looked at Yang Chen with a slightly profound look and said very confusedly, whether it is good or bad, it has no effect on me. Why should I? From the beginning to the end, Big Brother Li Cheng only said that person, but did not specify who it was. Yang Chen couldn't guess. The only thing he could be sure of was that even if the world was out of balance and everything died out, Big Brother Li Cheng would not be affected. This was what he said, and Yang Chen firmly believed it. As for the key to solving the problem in the three purities secret art, Yang Chen was no longer surprised after thinking about it for a while. The unique secret art of the three purities Tao ancestors was not something that anyone could get. Even if Yang Chen had it, without the consent of the three purities Tao ancestors, Yang Chen did not dare to easily pass it on to any of his wives and concubines. How could others have the chance to get the guidance of the Tao ancestors? In any case, now that Yang Chen had passed the test of Big Brother Li Cheng, there was still hope for everything to be salvaged. The current priority was to go to the Heavenly Tribulation Room. It was very convenient to go to the Conch underwater mansion. Everyone went out quietly and soon arrived at the Conch underwater mansion. Coincidentally, Jing, who was also there. Jing, who was now at the peak of Fairy Immortal, and even surpassed it. He had reached the Xian Immortal level, but he was fully prepared and had not yet ascended. It seemed that he also had a premonition that Yang Chen would come to his heavenly tribulation room in the near future, so he had been waiting. It's not a problem to give you that room, but even brothers should settle accounts clearly. What are you going to use to exchange for it? Fatty Jing was very straightforward. He knew the importance of the Heaven's Calamity Room to Chunyang Palace, so he didn't make things difficult and directly proposed an exchange. This Fatty was also a perceptive person. He knew that Yang Chen had a lot of good things, so he let Yang Chen take the initiative. Just tell me what you want. There's no need to resort to this. Fatty Jing was a bachelor, and Yang Chen was straightforward. He didn't haggle with him, and directly let Fatty Jing raise the price himself. In the future, no matter how busy you are, you have to help me refine the pills I need. Fatty Jing wasn't polite with Yang Chen at all and directly stated his request. In addition, a Ling and the others have to help me make some delicious food. This guy wasn't stupid. He knew the market price for Yang Chen's alchemy. It could be said that if Yang Chen promised him these, even if he ascended to the immortal world, he would still be able to eat and drink well. Only limited to one furnace. Yang Chen wouldn't be fooled by him and immediately set the scope. If he followed this guy's request and said that he needed this and that medicinal pill, Yang Chen wouldn't have to do anything else. 10 furnaces. Fatty Jing also knew that he was going too far. He smiled and said a number, at least 8 refinement. 2 furnaces. Yang Chen began to bargain with Fatty Jing. This guy never felt that there was anything wrong with bargaining. The two of them quickly went back and forth, and in a short while, the price of 5 furnaces of medicinal pills was set. As for Gong Sunling and the others, they could make delicious food at any time. Yang Chen didn't have to worry about it. This was for the sake of Gong Sunling's natal magic treasure. Gong Sunling wouldn't be stingy with her food. Take the entire cave mansion. Jing, who was really straightforward. Both parties had decided on the price. With a wave of his hand, he gave the entire conch mansion to Yang Chen without any hesitation. Giving the entire conch mansion to Yang Chen was also to ensure that the heavenly tribulation room wouldn't have any problems. At the same time, it was also a huge favor to Yang Chen. Fatty Jing's mind was definitely not that simple since he was able to eat so much. Fatty Jing had been training in the spiritual world for so many years. After seeing all the dangers outside, how could he not understand what kind of great killing weapon the heavenly tribulation room was? Those who knew about this would think of ways to harm him. In his previous life, Fatty Jing had been captured by the profound heaven sect because of this treasure. His life had been miserable. Now, not only had he given away the biggest culprit, who made people tremble with fear, but he had also received a promise from Yang Chen to refine 5 batches of pills for him. He had an explanation for Yang Chen, lost a hot potato, and left a lot of favors in the sect. For Fatty Jing, no matter how he looked at it, it was worth it. At least for now, it was a happy situation for all parties. Fatty Jing received a promise of a future, while Yang Chen received the heavenly tribulation room he had been dreaming of. He was one step closer to turning the mountain river geographical map into a real world. Big brother, how do I refine this room? Yang Chen didn't know much about the heavenly tribulation, so he humbly asked Li Cheng for advice. If you want to control the heavenly tribulation, you must at least be able to withstand it. Li Cheng didn't keep him in suspense at this time. Since Yang Chen had passed the test, Li Cheng would fully support Yang Chen. Controlling the heavenly Tao was a matter for the 3rd primordial spirit. Obviously, this would fall on the 3rd primordial spirit. When refining the conch underwater mansion, it would refine the heavenly tribulation room. However, after refining it in the heavenly tribulation room, it would trigger a series of terrifying heavenly tribulation to fall on the 3rd primordial spirit of the mountain river geographical map and the 3 dragon spirit. The process was very simple, and it didn't sound complicated. It just followed the simplest steps of refining the space. But Yang Chen obviously underestimated the power of the heavenly tribulation. In Yang Chen's understanding, the heavenly tribulation room would at most provide the wind tribulation. The third primordial spirit, whose spiritual awareness was at least at the golden immortal level, would certainly not care. Moreover, when it came to the strength of the body, was there a body stronger than the mountain river geographical map controlled by the third primordial spirit? The spiritual awareness of the golden immortal level could control the mountain river geographical map that even the profound immortal tribulation could not destroy, so it should be easy to resist the wind tribulation. But when the heavenly tribulation fell, Yang Chen realized that his imagination was too simple. The thunder tribulation, fire tribulation, and wind tribulation were still the same three kinds of tribulations, but the power was at least 100 times higher than before. At least the power of the wind tribulation was no less than the power of the human immortal tribulation. If it was only this kind of power, the third primordial spirit and the three dragon spirits could easily withstand it. But the problem was not the power but the quantity. Chapter 21:16. In the sky of the mountain river geographical map, the sky was densely covered with thunder tribulation, fire tribulation and wind tribulation, which could not be seen at a glance. A conservative estimate was at least hundreds of billions of them. While Yang Chen and the others were watching in amazement, they were also guessing, could it be that all the tribulations of all the creatures in the mountain river geographical map have been counted? The first to bear the brunt were the three dragon spirits. They didn't know where the three dragon spirits usually hid, but at this time they all appeared. As soon as they appeared, there were countless tribulations coming and exploding on the dragon spirit. There was no order, no rules, it was just unreasonable and directly smashed on the body. Boom, 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 boom. The sounds didn't stop and became one long sound after another. The third primordial spirit did not escape. It seemed to be involuntarily revealed, and then fell directly into the sea of tribulations. Yang Chen cultivated the three purities' secret art. The second primordial spirit and the third primordial spirit were closely related to the main body, and he could feel the feelings of the other at any time and anywhere. In the beginning, these tribulations were a great supplement for the dragon spirit and the third primordial spirit. The numerous tribulations tempered the spirit body of the third primordial spirit and the dragon spirit from all directions, making the spirit body more and more condensed. However, when the number was large and exceeded an order of magnitude, this tonic became a heavy burden. Everything had a tolerance level, and going too far was as bad as not going far enough. No one could imagine the situation of tens of millions of tribulations directly rushing into the body and then exploding at the same time. Even if it was an ordinary human immortal tribulation, at this level, it would be a fatal attack in the face of a Xian immortal master. The lowest dragon spirit was the first to be unable to bear it, and the surface of the body began to burst from all directions, and it would not be able to support it. Finally, the third primordial spirit was still able to maintain a trace of consciousness even under this level of tribulations, barely implicating a bunch of spiritual veins to the dragon spirit, so that the dragon spirit could barely survive first. At this time, Yang Chen realized the subtlety of the three purities' secret art. If it weren't for Yang Chen's main body and the second and third primordial spirits, it was estimated that the third primordial spirit would not be able to cope. When it was difficult to take care of itself, it relied on the main body and the second primordial spirit to keep enough consciousness. Otherwise, like the three dragon spirits, they would be trapped in the sea of tribulations and unable to extricate themselves. No wonder Brother Li Qing said that the three purities' secret art was the key. Without the three purities' secret art, when facing this kind of tribulation ocean, no matter how powerful the artifact spirit was, it was estimated that there was no way to keep a clear judgment. That is, Yang Chen and his second primordial spirit could see it but not be affected, so there was such a possibility. He didn't know how the Zhao family would deal with such a situation. The most terrible thing was that the source of the power of these heavenly tribulations was directly from the spiritual veins in the mountain river geographical map. The crazy extraction speed made Gong Sunling feel pain. If Yang Chun had not been prepared and placed the mountain river geographical map on the spirit vein square of the 5 elements Dragon Palace, constantly drawing spiritual power from the entire spiritual realm to replenish it, the spirit vein on the mountain river geographical map might have been an empty shell now. Other than Yang Chen's family and big brother Li Cheng, there was also the Dragon Clan and Madame Bai, whom Yang Chun had specially invited. The mountain river geographical map was the Dragon Clan's Dharma treasure. Furthermore, there were dragon spirits undergoing tribulations inside, so it was not too much to invite the Dragon Clan to attend the ceremony. As for Madame Bai and her group, they were purely invited to watch the excitement. This kind of scene was rare even in the immortal world. Madame Bai and her group of maids watched with relish. Ao Lan and Ao Lai each grabbed a dragon horn flying sword and refined it continuously. This was what they had promised Yang Chun, so they had to do it well. The experts with the surname Long were all wrapped up in a big cocoon by the jade dragon entanglement and the blood-eating demon vine. However, they still stared at the hellish scene with wide eyes. As they watched dumbfounded, they did not forget to resist the dragon entanglement grass and refine the dragon palace at the same time. The 3rd primordial spirit and the 3 dragon spirits kept having holes in their bodies. Then, with the nourishment of spiritual power and the heavenly tribulations, they quickly recovered. This process was like reincarnation. However, the heavenly tribulations that filled the sky did not seem to decrease at all. They still covered the entire sky. Be it the human aborigines or the demon aborigines in the mortal world, they were all unconscious. This raging sea of heavenly tribulations was not something they had the qualifications to witness. Even the experts in the 2nd layer of the mountain river geographical map, the spiritual realm, who had already undergone the heavenly tribulations, discovered the abnormality. All the spirit veins instantly dried up. There seemed to be a destructive atmosphere in the world, causing all the experts to keep quiet out of fear. They did not dare to make the slightest movement. The 3rd primordial spirit and the dragon spirits bitterly resisted, but they did not discover the changes in other places. However, Yang Chen's main body and 2nd primordial spirit, who were outside the situation, discovered some changes. Something different started to appear in the sky of the mortal world. Yang Chun could not name it. If he had to name it, perhaps it would be more suitable to describe it as a barrier. That's right, it should be a spatial barrier. This was the true spatial barrier that separated the mortal world from the spiritual realm and the immortal world. The reason why the cultivators could not return to the mortal world after transcending the tribulation and ascending to the spiritual world was because of the existence of this spatial barrier. Similarly, there should be this barrier between the spiritual world and the immortal world. Yang Chun did not dare to say that there was no problem with the newly formed spatial barrier in the mountain river geographical map, but from the fact that those consciousness clones in the mortal world, Zhou Xianying, Lin Jingyuan and Madame Bai, who were originally in the immortal world, could come to the spiritual world, there must be a problem with the spatial barrier in the real world. Perhaps this was caused by the imbalance of heaven and earth. The spatial barrier between heaven and earth was forming over there. Yang Chen suddenly had an idea and put the immortal beheading saber into the mortal world. The real world's immortal beheading platform was in the immortal world, but it was controlled by the executioner in the mortal world. Yang Chen had already refined the entrance to the immortal beheading platform in the real world. He also wanted to try to see if he could add such an immortal beheading platform in the world of the mountain river geographical map. Of course, it was purely Yang Chen's own flash of inspiration, and it was still unknown whether he could succeed or not. However, whether it was successful or not, it was also beneficial for the 2nd primordial spirit to increase some practical experience of the spatial barrier to improve the power of the immortal beheading saber. At the same time, because of the addition of the second primordial spirit, the pressure of the third primordial spirit would also be reduced accordingly. There was Yang Chen's main body outside, and he could still control the overall situation. Moreover, there was also Gong Sunling to help from the side, and he could always control the rhythm. As soon as the immortal beheading saber entered the mortal world, it was immediately surrounded by countless heavenly tribulations, like the third primordial spirit, and began to suffer purgatory-like suffering. Chapter 21:17. There were too many heavenly tribulations in the mortal world. Adding the second primordial spirit and the immortal beheading blade did not cause any substantial changes. In the blink of an eye, the immortal beheading blade was swallowed up. If Yang Chen and the second primordial spirit could not communicate in time, he would have thought that the immortal beheading blade had disappeared. The crazy heavenly tribulation tempered the entire immortal beheading blade. Soon Yang Chen discovered that the heavenly tribulation was so much that it exceeded the endurance of the immortal beheading blade. If he didn't come up with a proper solution at this time, it was estimated that other parts of the immortal beheading blade would be directly broken except for the entrance to the immortal beheading blade. Without saying anything, Yang Chen sent all the great yin-yang 5 elements flying sword to the immortal beheading blade. The great yin-yang 5 elements flying sword composed of the sword case, and the sword's soul stabilized its footing and continued to accept the endless tempering of the heavenly tribulation. In addition to accepting the tempering of the heavenly tribulation and working hard to maintain the great yin-yang 5 elements formation, the second primordial spirit was constantly aware of the process and characteristics of the formation of the space barrier. This was a unique opportunity to comprehend the power of space. Whether it was the characteristics of space in attack or defense, they could be experienced in the formation of the space barrier. Gong Sunling could no longer stand. She sat directly on the ground, closed her eyes and carefully felt the essential changes in her own magic weapon, compared with her own cultivation, and soon entered that state of meditation. His wife could do this, but Yang Chen couldn't. He must also pay attention to the changes in the overall situation at all times in order to provide guidance to the second primordial spirit and the third primordial spirit. This was the second time that Yang Chen sighed at the power of the Three Purities' secret art. If it weren't for the Three Purities' secret art, Yang Chen really couldn't think of any other possibility to keep the spirit of the mountain river geographical map awake in this sea of heavenly tribulation. The Zhao family didn't have the Three Purities' secret art. He didn't know how they wanted to get through this. Yang Chen has now seen that this is not a problem that can be solved by cultivation base. No matter how strong the cultivation base is, when it is buried by the heavenly tribulation, there will always be a limit. However, the sea of heavenly tribulation has almost no limit. As long as there is spiritual power between heaven and earth, there will always be heavenly tribulation. The current situation fully reflected the principle of ants biting an elephant to death. It also fully reflected the principle that quantitative change could lead to qualitative change. Anything, when used in large quantities, would have unimaginable power. For Yang Chen, the process of the mountain river geographical map absorbing the heavenly tribulation was both a huge risk and a super challenge. If he could pass this trial, he would be free and unfettered. If he couldn't, he could only stretch out his neck and wait for death. He wouldn't even have the chance to back out. The spatial barrier was forming bit by bit. It seemed that every time the second and third primordial divinities and the three dragon spirits survived a heavenly tribulation, a little of it would form. However, the mortal world was so vast. How many heavenly tribulations would it take to complete all the spatial barriers? Yang Chen had the intention to go down and bear more. By the way, he also completely integrated the golden bell that had been refined in his body. However, the situation before him left him with no choice but to stand on the sidelines and watch from the sidelines, instructing his primal twin and primal twin what to do at any moment. Once Yang Chen's body was trapped, he would never be able to get out. Even if Yang Chen was more powerful, he couldn't compete with the spiritual power contained in all the spiritual veins in the mountain river geographical map. The great yin-yang 5 elements flying sword was hundreds of times stronger than a single immortal beheading saber, but in the face of the endless heavenly tribulation, it still reached its limit. Although the second primordial divinity had tried its best, it could only delay this time a little. It was impossible to solve it completely. The entrance to the immortal beheading platform finally reflected the power of space in time. The countless heavenly tribulations soon fell into a disadvantage in the face of this power that could cut off the space. The raging power seemed to have found a vent, rushing from the entrance to the immortal beheading platform and directly began to impact the entrance. The heavenly tribulations in the sky did not decrease in the slightest. It seemed that as soon as one was consumed here, another one would appear there immediately. All the people watching the ceremony, except for elder brother Li Qing, were already stunned. Such a scene directly overturned the common sense in their hearts in the past. It also let them know that when countless heavenly tribulations came, even the most powerful cultivator could not compete with the absolute number of heavenly tribulations, even if the heavenly tribulation was the lowest level of thunder tribulation. Yang Chen, draw up a small area and let the heavenly tribulations concentrate. At this point, elder brother Li Qing, who was watching from the side, finally gave advice. Elder brother Li Qing's instructions, Yang Chen immediately followed it without saying anything. His main body conveyed it to the third primordial spirit, and the third primordial spirit struggled to control the mountain river geographical map and separate an area. Everyone, if you have any life origin magic weapons that you want to temper, just take this opportunity to try it. Seeing that Yang Chen was ready, Li Qing said to the people watching the ceremony, "This opportunity is rare, don't miss it." No one was a fool. With so many densely packed heavenly tribulations, even if it was the lowest level of the mortal world, when the number exceeded an order of magnitude, the speed of tempering a life origin magic weapon was many times faster than the tempering of an ordinary cultivator in the sea of consciousness. If they didn't seize this opportunity, it would be like entering a treasure mountain and returning empty-handed. Shi Shanshan was the first to take out her pure yang immortal sword. This time, she originally came to the demon realm to temper her pure yang immortal sword, but she caught up with elder brother Li Qing's test for her husband, so she only killed for a year or two before withdrawing. Although there would be opportunities in the future, the earlier she could temper her life origin flying sword, the earlier it could be tempered, the better. The others didn't want to fall behind, and in an instant, all kinds of life origin magic weapons landed in this area. The number of them directly exceeded 1,000. It couldn't be helped, just the number of Madame Bai's maids alone exceeded this number. Zhou Xianying's heavenly phoenix zither, the Murong sisters' 5 elements rope hook, Gao Yu's water and fire dragon horn flying sword, and so on all fell. As for Gong Suanling's life origin magic weapon, wasn't it the mountain river geographical map that was being tempered by the heavenly tribulation? Thousands of life origin magic weapons absorbed the heavenly tribulation, immediately reducing the pressure on the second and third primordial spirit. However, this was only a temporary phenomenon. As before, as soon as the heavenly tribulation disappeared, it immediately appeared again. There was no end to it at all. However, the speed of the formation of the space barrier had greatly increased, which surprised and delighted everyone. Although the power of the heavenly tribulation was small, it couldn't withstand the large number. After this experience, it was estimated that each of their life origin magic weapons would be improved. Yang Chen also felt that the immortal beheading saber was not enough. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he took out the black bracelet in his sea of consciousness that had been tempered by the golden immortal tribulation. He directly took the opportunity of this small heavenly tribulation to try to fuse with the immortal beheading saber. Chapter 21:18. The goal of the immortal slaying saber was to catch up to the immortal slaying platform of the heavenly courts for the time being. One had to know that apart from the main body of the immortal slaying saber, the immortal slaying platform also had a huge space. The immortals who entered the immortal slaying platform could only helplessly endure the executioner's control inside. It just so happened that the black bracelet itself had a space. This was a simple storage space. With a little upgrade, it could become a small cave abode. After the immortal slaying saber fused with the black bracelet, the embryonic form of the immortal slaying platform was almost formed. The appearance of the black bracelet gave Yang Chen an unexpected surprise. The golden immortal tribulation was originally wreaking havoc in Yang Chen's spiritual sea. After so many years of being absorbed and weakened by the white ball, coupled with the years of refining the black bracelet, it was no longer as powerful as the original golden immortal tribulation. Because the black bracelet had been refined for a long time, when the black bracelet left Yang Chen's spiritual sea and entered the heavenly tribulation ocean, a trace of the golden immortal tribulation was also brought out. Perhaps because of the attraction between the heavenly tribulations, the golden immortal tribulation just came out and received a huge gravitational force, and then the whole thing was pulled out of Yang Chen's sea of consciousness and integrated into the entire sea of heavenly tribulation. In an instant, all the heavenly tribulations in this round were more than 10 times more powerful than before. If it wasn't for the fact that Yang Chen's main body could communicate with his second and third primordial spirits in time and use the black bracelet to absorb most of the heavenly tribulation's power, his second and third primordial spirits and the dragon spirits might have immediately made a fool of themselves. Soon, Yang Chen discovered that the black bracelet's refining speed had also increased a lot. Although the golden immortal tribulation was powerful, there was only one golden immortal tribulation after all. It couldn't compare to the current heavenly tribulation ocean. It was everywhere at all times, rushing towards the black bracelet from all directions. In just a short period of time, it was comparable to tempering in Yang Chen's spiritual sea for a day. The immortal slaying saber's main body had also reached its limit. Due to its limited materials, it couldn't be further improved. The original plan was to integrate the black bracelet into the immortal slaying saber. Now, the plan was brought forward and it used the power of the heavenly tribulation to strengthen the immortal slaying saber. The black bracelet and the immortal beheading saber had already stuck together and were slowly fusing. In the past, this was something that Yang Chen didn't have the strength to do. But now that he was immersed in the sea of heavenly tribulation, he didn't have to worry about his lack of strength at all. All the spiritual power in the world was concentrated here, so how could he not be able to refine a mere bracelet? His second primordial spirit took over this heavy responsibility and began to devour the black bracelet with all its might. The entrance of the immortal slaying platform was also activated at full force, slicing the black bracelet into pieces and filling every part of the immortal slaying saber. Now, the heavenly tribulation had reached a temporary equilibrium with all kinds of consumption. The speed at which the spatial barrier formed between heaven and earth had also reached a limit. This was a situation that Yang Chen was very happy to see. As long as he could hold on until the spatial barrier was completed, everything would be considered a success. Wishes are beautiful, but reality is always a cruel mess. Just when Yang Chen felt that things were going well, things just didn't go the way he wanted them to. The spatial barrier grew rapidly, and soon, it reached the edge of the entrance to the demon realm. The moment it came into contact with the demonic chi, all the heavenly tribulations seemed to stop for a moment. All of a sudden, they all surged in this direction and suddenly exploded at the same time, drowning the entrance to the demon realm. What do you plan to do with the demonic chi and the demonized demon beasts? Li Cheng's voice sounded in Yang Chen's ear. In the past, as long as it came into contact with enough demonic chi, the heavens never sent down a heavenly tribulation. Yang Chen understood that this was a rule set by the naive big shot that Big Brother Li Cheng had mentioned. Not only did he throw all the demonic qi into the demon realm, he also didn't give the creatures of the demon realm any chance to ascend. He didn't allow them to bring the demonic qi to the spirit realm or the immortal realm. That was a rule in the past, and it had already been proven that it wasn't a good thing. How could Yang Chen make such a mistake again? Since everything in this world is divided into yin and yang, then the demonic qi shouldn't be abandoned outside of this world. Yang Chen directly made a decision without thinking. Only with Tao can there be demons, and conversely, only with demons can there be Tao. There's no need for bias in this world. Balance is the most important thing. I want the demonic qi too. The demonic beast can also survive the heavenly tribulation. After saying this, Yang Chen's third primordial spirit directly opened the entrance to the demon realm. The black demonic qi was no longer restricted, and it sprayed wildly towards the mortal world. Along with the demonic qi, there was also a huge amount of unparalleled spiritual energy. At the same time, the heavenly tribulation also rushed into the demon realm from that entrance. Over there, a radius of a mile had been refined by the Mountain River geographical map. At least within the scope of the Mountain River geographical map, the heavenly tribulation could affect it. The Mountain River geographical map was controlled by the third primordial spirit. If the demonic qi was ejected, just like the demon continent in the mortal world, it would soon form an area similar to the demon continent near the entrance of the demonic tribulation, which was what Yang Chen didn't want to see. Therefore, the demonic qi that was ejected was quickly diluted by the surrounding spiritual power that was also rushing over and quietly dispersed to all corners of the world. Only in this way could the whole world slowly get used to the existence of the demonic qi and get used to the influence of the demonic qi. Over the years, just like the dragon clan getting used to the dragon entangled grass, they would slowly get used to it. Yang Chen thought so. If you can't withstand a little demonic qi, you definitely can't be called a qualified cultivator. Only after experiencing the experience like the demon continent can you be called a real master in the spiritual world. This has been proven in the real world, and there is no need for Yang Chen to prove it again. Even Shi Shanshan, Sun Qingxue and others, who did not go to the demon continent in their previous lives, were seriously injured when they arrived in the spiritual world. It was not until they were tempered in the demonic tribulation in the spiritual world that they grew into the real winter plum fairy and dancing snow fairy. Now those cultivators in the Mountain River geographical map will be influenced by the demonic qi from this moment on. Fortunately, the world inside the Mountain River geographical map was also large enough. Even if the demonic qi gushed over like this, there was a large enough place to dilute and dilute. The impact on the cultivators inside would not be too sudden and too great, enough time for them to get used to it. The area that Yang Chen's third primordial spirit separately divided for everyone to temper their life source magic weapons was affected to the greatest extent by the demonic qi at this time. Everyone present was a master, especially Yang Chen's family, who had just returned from the demon realm. They didn't need to care about this little demonic qi. On the contrary, it could help them better temper their life source magic weapons. It was the first time for the Dragon Clan and Madame Bai's party to come into contact with the demonic qi. The others were fine, but the masters surnamed Long almost lost their minds because they were entangled by the Jasper Dragon and the blood-eating demon Vine. Amazing! Several masters surnamed Long shouted after that, and then shouted at Yang Chen, unwilling to admit defeat, "Give me more!" Obviously, these masters of the Dragon Clan had already realized the benefits of the demonic qi to them. Interesting. Madame Bai's performance was much more elegant, but her request was the same. Where did this thing come from? Send me more to try. Chapter 21:19. As the saying goes, if you want something sweet, add a bit of salt. Now the devil qi was acting as the salt. The right amount of reverse stimulation could enhance the positive characteristics of things, especially for cultivators. Devil Chi could trigger the outbreak of all kinds of negative emotions, but when the cultivators endured these, they no longer had to fear it. From this aspect, the right amount of Devil Chi was a catalyst for cultivation. Of course, everything had to be kept in the right amount. Everyone understood the principle of going too far was as bad as not going far enough. Yang Chen just felt strange. How could the big shot who threw all the Devil Chi into the Devil Realm be so short-sighted? It seemed that, as Brother Li Qing said, it could only be described as naive. After the appearance of the Devil Chi, the heavens' tribulation and everyone returned to balance. This time, Yang Chen did not see any sudden situation. The space barrier was slowly and firmly formed. The immortal beheading saber had now turned black. Most of the materials of the black bracelet had been melted and integrated into the immortal beheading saber. At least the weight of the immortal beheading saber was beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Even if Yang Chen left the immortal beheading saber on the ground, few cultivators could easily pick it up. In the raging heavens tribulation, no one felt the passage of time. The space barrier was slowly completed, and everyone's magic weapons were also effective. At this time, a sudden change happened again. This time it was not a change, but the spiritual power in the Mountain River geographical map was insufficient. Although the 5 elements Dragon Palace could directly absorb the spiritual power in the world, the absorption speed of the Mountain River geographical map could not keep up with the consumption speed of the Heavens Tribulation. The Heavens Tribulation was slowly decreasing, but the space barrier was still lacking. In this crisis, the spiritual power from the Devil Realm helped a lot. The two spaces were connected, and the Devil Realm itself was also a world. The surging spiritual power surged from the entrance, so it did not take long for the space entrance to be expanded by the surging spiritual power. This saved Yang Chen the effort of expanding the entrance. At the same time, the spiritual power that surged in also somewhat solved the urgent need of the Mountain River geographical map. At least the spiritual power from the Devil Realm and the 5 elements Dragon Palace could barely maintain the Heavens Tribulation Ocean. Yang Chen never thought that refining a small Heavens Tribulation room would be so difficult. He had thought that it would be a simple process. He did not expect that the heavenly tribulation would also require the addition of a spatial barrier. Brother Li Qing may have expected everything, but he did not expect that the world of the Mountain River geographical map was so big that the spiritual power in the entire map was not enough to form a spatial barrier. At this time, he could only think of another way. I'll have my second primal twin refine the entrance to the immortal slaying platform with all its might and open its door. At this crucial moment, Big Brother Li Qing couldn't care too much and pointed out to Yang Chen, "That side is connected to the immortal realm, there's enough spiritual power there." Without another word, Yang Chen immediately followed Big Brother Li Qing's instructions and opened the immortal beheading platform with all his might. Previously, he had only refined the entrance, but the door was still tightly shut. Now, he could only think of a way to open it. If he wanted to open the door of the immortal beheading platform, he couldn't just rely on spiritual power. Moreover, he already had a lack of spiritual power. With no other choice, Yang Chen's main body could only go into battle. If he didn't use his spiritual power, then he would use his physical strength. Yang Chen's body appeared directly at the entrance of the immortal beheading platform and reached out to push the two huge doors. The powerful physical strength brought by the cultivation of the golden body secret art and the yellow turban strongman body refining technique was passed on to the door of the immortal beheading platform. However, no matter how hard Yang Chen tried, the two doors still did not move, let alone open. Even the door knocker did not shake. A huge amount of merit was directly used. The golden body secret art itself had the content of the merit chapter. The merit was more powerful than refining the space of the demon realm. With the operation of Yang Chen's golden body secret art, Yang Chen's body was blessed. After a while, Yang Chen once again became the muscular and majestic man. Pushing the door of the immortal beheading platform with both hands and supporting his feet on the ground of the entrance of the immortal beheading platform, Yang Chen's whole body was stretched into a huge bow shape. With Yang Chen's shout, the door of the immortal beheading platform was finally pushed a little. There was a beginning and there was a continuation. With the full activation of the second primordial spirit, Yang Chen finally pushed the door open a small gap. Suddenly, a huge and pure and unparalleled spiritual power surged out of the immortal beheading platform, like the sweet rain after a long drought, quickly moistening the dry mountain map. When he entered the immortal beheading platform in his dream, Yang Chen had not realized this kind of spiritual power. At that time, Yang Chen could not cultivate easily, otherwise he would be locked in the immortal beheading platform and could not come out. Now Yang Chen discovered how abundant the spiritual power inside was. The spiritual power in the mountain river geographical map, compared with the spiritual power gushing out of the door of the immortal beheading platform, was simply the difference between a small river and the sea. As Yang Chen pushed the door of the immortal beheading platform a little bit, more and more spiritual power gushed out. In addition to meeting the needs of the heavenly tribulation in the sky, the exhausted spiritual veins began to recover a little bit, and once again exuded a little bit of spiritual power. The cultivators in the mountain river geographical map finally felt relieved. The spiritual power appeared in the spiritual veins again, and at first glance, it was in the process of recovery. Although they did not know what caused the exhaustion, as long as it recovered, there was hope. In the face of the huge spiritual power of the immortal world, the first to bear the brunt was Yang Chen's body. His body, which had just been exhausted, was blown by this powerful spiritual power of the immortal world, and quickly recovered. Even the spiritual awareness of his body was a lot more energetic. While still in the process of absorbing the heavenly tribulation, Yang Chen's body quickly left the sea of heavenly tribulation after recovering. He still needed to keep an eye on the overall changes, so that the second primordial spirit and the third primordial spirit could not take care of the corner. The women and the experts of the Dragon Clan who were tempering their life source magic weapons caught up with the good time. The spiritual power of the immortal world was better than the spiritual power of the mortal world. The spiritual pressure was more than 10 times greater than that of the spiritual world. After a while, their life source magic weapons felt significantly improved. The most obvious was Shi Shanshan's pure yang immortal sword. Originally, the immortal sword was a magic weapon of the immortal world. It was sent to the spiritual world by Ancestor Lu, and it obviously absorbed the spiritual power of the immortal world. It was like eating a big tonic, greedily absorbing and growing. After a while, it surpassed Shi Shanshan's killing of hundreds of demon world creatures. With the support of the spiritual power of the immortal beheading platform, the mountain river geographical map no longer had a lack of spiritual power. Everywhere, space barriers were firmly and slowly formed, gradually enveloping all the mortal world. When the space barriers slowly accumulated, all the space was filled, and the last gap was blocked. All the heavenly tribulation disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. The sky was blue, and there was no trace of the heavenly tribulation. Chapter 21:20. All the cultivators who had passed the wind tribulation in the mortal world felt a strong suction force at the moment, forcing their bodies out of the mortal world and sent them to the spiritual world of the mountain river geographical map. All these cultivators had the experience of ascending and knew very well what was going on. In less than the time it took for a stick of incense to burn, there were only those who had never passed any heavenly tribulation in the mortal world, and there were no cultivators who had passed the tribulation. Yang Chen's family was no exception. They were all sent to the spiritual world. Including the owner of the mountain river geographical map, Gong Sunling, they could not stay in the mortal world. It seemed that except for the third primordial spirit and the 3 dragon spirits who acted as the tool spirit, No cultivator could return to the mortal world. This was an absolute space barrier, a space barrier set by the third primordial spirit, which did not allow any cultivator to violate the rules. In other words, from now on, the mortal world of this side of the world and the people were no longer fated. The people had not completely absorbed the sea of heavenly tribulation, and the mortal world began to change. The natives who had reached the yuanying stage looked at the dense tribulation clouds in the sky, felt the changes in their bodies and the connection with the heavenly tribulation, and began to prepare for the tribulation. There were too many natives who had reached this standard, so that the heavenly tribulation could only appear in different directions in turns. The control of the third primordial spirit was sparse enough, so that the people who were passing the tribulation did not interfere with each other. Of course, the first to pass the tribulation were also the natives with the highest cultivation, who had reached the human immortal and earth immortal level. It was not a problem for them to pass the lightning tribulation. They were the first to pass the tribulation, and it was also an excellent reference for the ordinary natives who followed. Countless hopeful natives watched the first batch of lightning tribulations with a different kind of excitement, imagining the day of their own tribulation. All this was only known to Yang Chen and Gong Sunling. Gong Sunling knew, because this mountain river geographical map was Gong Sunling's life source magic weapon. And Yang Chen knew the changes in the mortal world through the third primordial spirit. However, he knew it, but whether it was Yang Chen or Gong Sunling, they couldn't directly affect the tribulation of the mortal world. They could only watch, they couldn't even speak. Soon, Yang Chen discovered that among the natives in the mortal world, a large number of them were cultivators who had undergone systematic cultivation. Needless to say, these were the results of Shangguanfeng's teachings in the mortal world. As early as after Shangguanfeng and others ascended, Yang Chen let them enter the mortal world of the mountain river geographical map to rebuild Chunyang Palace and allowed them to establish their own sections. Now in the mortal world, there was not only Chunyang Palace, but also various sects of various names. The demon tribe also had a complete inheritance. It was almost a miniature of the real world. The only difference was that Chunyang Palace was the boss of this world. Now, although Shangguanfeng and others were also forced to return to the spiritual world, they left a complete inheritance in the territory of these natives in the mortal world. These were all seeds. In the future, there would be a steady stream of cultivators in the mortal world to cultivate and ascend. It was not a short time for the cultivators in the mortal world to go through the tribulation one by one. Everyone began to calculate the harvest of this time's heavenly tribulation ocean. Everyone's face was full of joy. Naturally, Gong Sunling had the biggest harvest, no one could compare. A mortal world with a complete world law had been formed. Countless cultivators were undergoing tribulation and ascending. The mountain river geographical map was many times stronger. Even Gong Sunling was directly affected, and her cultivation directly reached the peak of Earth Immortal. If Gong Sunling hadn't suppressed herself and wanted to experience more in the Earth Immortal realm, she might have directly broken through to the Fairy Immortal realm and attracted the Earth Immortal tribulation. Another person who had the biggest harvest was Yang Chen. Not only did the golden immortal tribulation in the sea of consciousness disappear without a trace, there was no threat anymore, and the black bracelet had been completely integrated into the immortal beheading blade. Although it had not been completely integrated, it was only a matter of time. In the future, the immortal beheading blade would no longer have to worry about material problems. Along with the immortal beheading blade, there was a new way of attack that was a direct hard cut. Not to mention the sharpness and the ability to cut space with the blessing of Shao Tian, the weight and hardness of the immortal beheading blade alone could make the magic weapons of most cultivators suffer. As for the cultivator's physical body, ask them which one could withstand the double attack of the immortal beheading blade and the diamond chakram? The second primordial spirit experienced the formation of the space barrier and became more and more experienced in the attack and defense of space. The immortal beheading blade would only become sharper and sharper. In addition, after opening the entrance to the immortal beheading blade and the scouring of the spiritual power of the immortal world, Yang Chen's golden body secret art had reached a higher level. According to the realm of the yellow turban strongman body refining technique, Yang Chen had entered the realm of the middle stage of strength and once again became a strong man. Fortunately, the girls were already used to this kind of body shape. Yang Chen had repeated it many times, and each time, his cultivation had advanced. The girls were only happy for Yang Chen, but none of them despised him. The girls themselves also had a lot of gains. Shi Shanshan's pure yang immortal sword could be considered to have barely completed the initial refining, and all the sword light was restrained. As long as Shi Shanshan put in a little more effort, she could easily reach the point where she could use it like a finger. The other people's natal flying sword had experienced a thorough tempering, and the quality had greatly improved. Even Gao Yu did not need Ao Lan and Ao Lai to help her refine the dragon horn flying sword. The Murong sisters' 5-element hooks were also close to great success. In the future, they would use the dragon puppet to refine it for a period of time, and its power would not be inferior to anyone else's natal flying sword. The dragon race, Madame Bai, and the others all had their own benefit. Especially when they had tasted the demonic qi for the first time, it had also tempered their mental states and improved slightly. Unfortunately, it was only the demonic qi of the mortal domain, and it was only slightly nourishing for them. It had not reached the point where they could be reborn. Yang Chen calculated the time and exclaimed in surprise again. This time, the heavenly tribulation ocean wreaked havoc for a full 100 years. The dragon race, Madame Bai, and the others were already Xian immortals and above, and a mere 100 years did not have much of an impact on their cultivation. It was just that their natal magic treasures had improved greatly. However, to Yang Chen and the others, their cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. Big brother Li Qing had improved by a small cultivation level, and reached grade 3 heaven immortal. On the other hand, Yang Chen and the girls had all improved by 2 small cultivation levels. Yang Chen himself had reached grade 6 earth immortal, Zhou Xianying had reached late stage heaven immortal, Lady Fanghua had reached intermediate stage heaven immortal, and his concubines had all reached grade 2 heaven immortal. Gao Yu and the others had all reached late stage earth immortal, and were about to reach peak stage earth immortal. While everyone was rejoicing, Shi Shanshan suddenly had a question: can we still go to the demonic world to kill and train now? When this question was asked, no one knew the answer, not even Yang Chen. The demonic world should be connected to the mortal domain. If they could not go to the mortal domain, did it mean that they could not go to the demonic world? While everyone was puzzled, their vision blurred, and they directly appeared in the demonic world, which was filled with black gas. It seemed like the spatial barrier did not affect them at all. Chapter 21-21. Needless to say, it must be the third primordial spirit who took the initiative to send everyone over. The facts showed that everyone could still kill wantonly in the demon realm without worrying about not being able to come over. Yang Chen had some doubts, but he soon knew the answer. The location of everyone was near the entrance of the demon realm. However, the entrance and the surrounding area had been refined and integrated by the Mountain River geographical map, and the integrated part had also formed a space barrier, so they could not pass through it no matter what. It turned out that this was the solution to the third primordial spirit's control. The unrefined part did not belong to the mortal world, so everyone could easily be sent over by the third primordial spirit, but the refined part was like an impenetrable wall, and they could not pass through it no matter what. Can consciousness doppelgangers go to the mortal world here? Yang Chen asked Brother Li Qing directly because he couldn't find the answer from others. It depends on whether the heavenly Tao controlled by the third primordial spirit is really fair. Brother Li Qing explained without hesitation. If it is really fair, then this kind of thing shouldn't happen. If it is like the previous world, with the selfishness of some big shots, then everything is possible. It depends on what kind of world you want to create. Then forget it. Yang Chen shook his head directly. It's fine as long as it is balanced. As for whether to go to the mortal world or not, it is better to completely ban it. There has never been a dynasty that will never change. The children and grandchildren have their own happiness, so it is better not to affect too much. The current world had loopholes like that. It may be because of the problem of devil chi that other places were like a sieve. If the major sect wanted to send consciousness doppelgangers to the mortal world, it was not good for big shots like Ancestor Lu to send people to the spiritual world. The cultivators of the mortal world were still waiting in line to cross the tribulation, while the third primordial spirit had begun to control another space cave in the demon realm to explode, and then fully refined and absorbed this part of the space. Every time there was an expert who crossed the tribulation, the power of the mountain river geographical map would be stronger. With such a huge population base, there were thousands of cultivators crossing the tribulation at every moment, which also caused the power of the mountain river geographical map to increase at every moment. The most important thing was the speed at which he could refine the demon realm space. Although it was the same size of a cave dwelling, the refining speed was many times faster than before. Originally, it would have taken a year to completely refine it. Now, it only took a few days. They could see the land being swallowed up by the spatial barrier inch by inch, and they could no longer pass through. This was very good. He believed that with the passage of time, the number of cultivators who had overcome the wind tribulation would increase. Similarly, the larger the area of refining the demon world, the greater the power of the mountain river geographical map, which could also increase the refining speed. Yang Chen also discovered a phenomenon. Within the spatial barrier, the spiritual pressure in the mortal world began to slowly decrease, and it was slowly transitioning to the level of the mortal world in the real world. On the other hand, the spirit realm had not changed, so this world must be constantly improving. It was just that no one knew when it would return to normal. Because of the existence of the spatial barrier, Madame Bai and the others could no longer travel to the mortal realm. However, the demon realm gave them a place to vent. After lying in the graveyard for God knows how many years, and then living a comfortable life for many more years, it was time to exercise their skills. Moreover, the density of the demonic energy here was enough for Madame Bai and the others to train. Even though a part of their memories had been sealed, they were still willing to try things that were beneficial to their cultivation. Aolai was still being polished by Lin Jingyuan every day, and the experts with the surname Long were still adapting to the restraint of the dragon entanglement grass. Now they could already make some simple combat moves. They believed that they would soon be completely accustomed to the restraint of the dragon entanglement grass, and they would no longer have to worry about being suppressed by it. Aolan could finally free up her hands. She did not need to help Gao Yu refine the dragon horn flying sword. She also participated in the exploration of the demon realm. With her cultivation, she could go further than the others and see more. At the same time, killing more demonic beasts was also a method to help the mountain river geographical map refine the demon realm. The group of people followed the edge of the spatial barrier and killed. If there were any difficulties in the refining process, they could also help. Yang Chen himself left the mountain river geographical map and returned to the real world. This time, it took 100 years to refine the tribulation room. Presumably, the major sect had launched an attack on the Zhao family. During the refining, Yang Chen could not pay attention to it. At this time, he had to care about the result. The palace master now also had the cultivation of the earth immortal level, and his progress was similar to Yang Chen. Over the years, the fairy immortal masters in Chungyang Palace had also increased a lot, and there were dozens of Xian immortal masters. The status of Chungyang Palace was also becoming more and more stable. Seeing Yang Chen, the palace master was naturally surprised. Then, the elders gathered and introduced the current situation of the spiritual world to Yang Chen. As Yang Chen expected, a few decades ago, after careful preparation, the major sect launched a large-scale search and attack on the suspected area where the Zhao family's nest was located, and the results were remarkable. That area was indeed where the Zhao family's nest was located. In the past, they hid well, and the major sect did not find them, but no matter how well they hid, they could not resist the carpet search. Soon, the major sect grasped the location of the Zhao family's nest. Then, after the major sect gathered the elites from all sides, they launched a heavy attack. Thousands of Xian Immortal Masters launched a devastating attack on the Zhao family's nest from all directions. Unfortunately, the major sect always thought that their whereabouts were hidden, but they did not expect that everything was under the nose of the Zhao family. The unexpected attack faced the other party's prepared defense, and both sides paid a heavy price. There were many masters in the major sect, and with the previous victories, their morale was high, and they occupied a human balance. Originally, they wanted to take advantage of the timing of the attack, but they were discovered by the Zhao family in advance, and this advantage was no longer there. The Zhao family also did not have the timing, but they took advantage of the geographical advantage. In the territory that the Zhao family had painstakingly managed for many years, they relied on various arrays and a large number of masters to launch a defense and counterattack. This time, the major sect and the Zhao family rarely had a head-on battle. The masters of the major sect with high morale initially occupied the upper hand, but soon the Zhao family took advantage of the geographical advantage, and even began to eliminate the masters of the major sect. Seeing that the battle situation was unfavorable, the masters of the major sect desperately fought back, boasting that they had left their life origin primordial spirit with the dwelling god Jade, and they were not afraid of death. The masters of the mysterious heaven sect relied on a large number of centennial pills and millennium pills to level the situation. Both sides retreated under the situation of heavy casualties. Chapter 21-22. It could be said that this battle was the biggest loss for each sect. On average, each sect sacrificed at least hundreds of Xian Immortal experts, adding up to more than thousands, close to 10,000. These were all casualties caused by the final desperate counterattack. Similarly, the Zhao family didn't have it easy either. Although they gained the upper hand by relying on the formation that they had been operating for a long time, they still caused almost half of the casualties of each sect. For the Zhao family, this was a huge loss that couldn't be recovered. Fortunately, although many experts of each sect died, because of the existence of the divine perching jade provided by Yang Chen, those experts were only temporarily reborn and lost their combat strength. As long as they had a few hundred or 1,000 years, they would recover very quickly. Because they had died once, their state of mind would become even more powerful than before. However, the Zhao family didn't have such a backing. The experts who died were dead, and there was no chance for them to be resurrected. Only some extremely important experts had the divine perching jade, and it was obtained at a high price from the Wanbao Tower. The cost was extremely high. It seemed that the sect was at a disadvantage this time and had suffered a crushing defeat. However, strictly speaking, the Zhao family was the most distressed. The death of thousands of Xian Immortal experts was enough to hurt them to the point that they couldn't bear it. Among all the sects, the one that suffered the least was the Black Heaven sect. This was because they had the Millennium Pill and 100-Year Pill provided by Yang Chen. The power of suddenly increasing one's cultivation by 100 years or 1,000 years at a critical moment was not to be underestimated. Even though there were all sorts of side effects, at a critical moment of life and death, personal cultivation was still the safest. It was also the key factor that could save one's life and kill the enemy. Therefore, most of the experts of the mysterious heaven sect were seriously injured, and only a few died. Even those who died could be resurrected by the divine perching jade, so they weren't afraid at all. As for those who were seriously injured, Each sect had their own healing medicine, and Yang Chen's Merit Ganoderma Dew pill was no joke. Even if one's limbs were disabled, there was a limb regeneration pill that could regrow them. After that, it would only take a few years at most for the seriously injured to recover, and the disabled to be as good as new. Originally, the Zhao family's arrangement was already very appropriate. They were just waiting for the masters of the major sect to come to their doorstep and find out that their surprise attack plan had been seen through. When their morale suffered a great blow, the Zhao family would then be able to fight a beautiful ambush. But the Zhao clan probably didn't expect that the effect of the perching divine jade, the healing pill, and the limb regeneration pill was something that even thousands of profound immortal experts might not be able to compare to. As long as they had this backing, the experts of each sect would always be able to maintain their high morale. So what if the surprise attack plan was seen through? Even on the verge of death, he was fearless. Even if he couldn't kill his enemy, he would still leave a scar on his enemy. Those who were bold were afraid of those who were bold, and those who were bold were afraid of those who did not care about their lives. No matter how good the plan was, how detailed the deployment was, and how strong the formation was, if they met a group of people who were not afraid of death, and if they met a group of people who were willing to sacrifice themselves to destroy the formation and open a path for the experts on their side, the experts of the Zhao family would also be terrified. If only a few people were like this, naturally, it would not be a big deal, and the part would not affect the whole. However, what the Zhao family did not expect was that all the experts involved had this kind of courage to sacrifice their lives, and all of them had this kind of courage to sacrifice themselves. As a result, the Zhao family suffered a tragedy. Although they had achieved twice the results of their own casualties, the master of the Zhao family still wanted to cry but had no tears. As early as a long time ago, Yang Lan reminded the current master of the Zhao family that with the Zhao family manor in the hands of the major sect, they could enter the core of the trial land anytime and anywhere. The master listened to Yang Lan's warning and also made targeted deployments, but he did not increase the defense according to Yang Lan's suggestion and dispatch more experts from the core of the Zhao family. They thought that this level was enough to make the masters of the major sect unable to return. Even if there were occasional fish that slipped through the net, it was just a minor disease, and they didn't need to care. Even regardless of Yang Lan's hard advice, Qian Gang made an arbitrary decision and locked up Yang Lan, a guy who almost shed blood and tears at that time, waiting for the punishment after the war. The fact was indeed as they expected. Only 2 or 3 out of 10 masters of the major sect could return from this war, and all of them were injured. It could be said that there was no one intact. If only the casualties of the major sect were counted, this was definitely a great victory for the Zhao family, a decisive victory. For a long time, the major sect could only defend their own sect, and they no longer had the ability and courage to gather again. However, if the Zhao family's own casualties and the blow to the morale of the major sect were counted, the master of the Zhao family was stunned to find that they had lost thousands of core masters, but they only slightly weakened the strength of the major sect by 1,000 years. After 1,000 years, not only would the masters lost in this war be restored, but there would definitely be more disciples of the major sect who would stand out and join the team of masters. As for the blow to the morale of the major sect, it was simply a joke. Whether it was now or in the future, they were not afraid of death. It was even possible that they would become stronger because of hatred. How could they lose anything? On the other hand, if the Zhao clan lost an expert, then so be it. After 1,000 years, at most, they would only have the newly matured experts to hold the fort and fight against the veteran experts of the major sects with high morale. The result could be imagined. It was only in a place like the Zhao family's nest that they could take advantage of. In other places, the Zhao family would never be able to return one-on-one. At present, the major sect only had the power to defend, but the Zhao family could only watch helplessly. How could they have the strength to attack? At this point, the two sides once again formed a balance. The major sect took all the cultivators to guard the core of the trial ground, not letting anyone from the Zhao family come out. The Zhao family was also licking their wounds in the core of the trial ground. For a short time, the well water did not interfere with the river water. The current situation in the spiritual world was like this. The major sect suffered unprecedented casualties, but they still retained high morale and the determination of revenge. They just had to wait for the other parties to recover their strength before settling the score with the Zhao family. For the time being, the cultivators of the Tao, Devil, and Monster sects were united like never before to deal with the Zhao family together. As a result, the spiritual world had a long period of peace. Everything seemed to be going according to Yang Chen's plan. Yang Chen did not comment on this. It was fine as long as he knew the movements of the various parties. He believed that when the true master of the Zhao family found out that his descendants had ruined the foundation of the Zhao family, he would quickly deal with it and think of ways to maintain the Zhao family's advantage. When the true master of the Zhao family made a move, he believed that the Black Heaven sect, which was the leader and had suffered the least casualties, would become the primary target. Yang Chen was looking forward to this day. Chapter 21-23. After listening to Yang Chen's narration, Brother Li Cheng pondered for a while and said, "It seems that I have to go again and increase the difficulty for them, so that those masters won't be able to free up their hands." As soon as Yang Chen heard this, he knew that Brother Li Cheng must have caused a lot of trouble for these Zhao family masters in the past. Otherwise, Brother Li Cheng wouldn't have said this. "Big brother, when I was refining the exit of the beast space, you killed tens of thousands of beasts there. How come the Zhao family didn't make any movements?" Yang Chen blurted out. He had wanted to ask this for a long time, but he had never asked. Since the Zhao family had been in the core of the trial ground, why didn't the Zhao family come to investigate when Li Cheng made such a big movement? Could it be that the Zhao family was busy with something else at that time? You unsealed the beasts that their ancestors had worked hard to seal, causing tens of thousands of years of arrangements to go up in flames. The real masters of the Zhao family didn't know what happened and were jumping up and down to find the reason. How could they care about the exit of the beast space? Li Cheng knew the reason and quickly explained to Yang Chen. Here at the Zhao family's nest, a simple little formation can make them nervous and afraid of being exposed. It's much simpler. The Zhao family's ancestors were divided into two groups. Yang Chen already knew that Brother Li Cheng explained the two reasons. As for those who accidentally encountered the movement, just kill them directly. Anyway, it's not a big deal for cultivators to disappear for a long time. Big Brother Li Cheng explained here, and Yang Chen was also sighing over there. His sworn brother was really direct enough. Such a big movement, because of these small reasons, made the Zhao family not find the abnormality there for 50 years. If the Zhao family knew the situation at that time, would they all be furious? However, this also reflected the brilliance of Brother Li Cheng's meticulous planning. Just two simple little tricks made such a big family like the Zhao family hesitate to take action. After all, an expert was still an expert. Brother Li Cheng left very straightforwardly. He left when he said he would, without stopping at all. He just finished talking to Yang Chen, and the next moment, he disappeared. Sometimes, Yang Chen really felt that Big Brother Li Cheng was very carefree. At least, he wasn't like him. If he wanted to leave, he had to make arrangements for the girls and spend some time with them before leaving. In fact, Yang Chen really wanted to follow Big Brother Li Cheng to the demon beast space to have a look. Unfortunately, it was the critical moment of refining the demon world, and he needed to use a lot of merit points at all times. Yang Chen couldn't leave at all. As for bringing Gong Sunling and the others to the demonic beast space, that was out of the question. Big Brother Li Cheng was definitely going there to do something, and it was very likely to be very dangerous. There were many mystic immortal-level demonic beasts there, and the girls would only be a burden if they followed him. It was even very likely that the refinement of the devil world would come to a halt. Yang Chen did not directly participate in the women's killing experience in the Devil Realm. Now that the major sect had suffered heavy losses, it was the time when the price of Yang Chen's elixirs was the best. Perhaps he could take this opportunity to make a small fortune. When necessary, it was also good to use it to flatter sect Master Li of the Xiantian sect. If he wanted people to charge forward, he had to give them enough benefit. It was not that Yang Chen still cared about this small fortune now, but it was really the intention of the palace master. These days, there were countless masters from all over the major sect who came to Chunyang Palace to ask for elixirs. The stock of Wanbao Tower had been sold out, but there was still an endless stream of people asking for elixirs. The major sect suffered so many casualties this time, especially the masters of the mystic immortal level. Ordinary healing elixirs could only solve the urgent need, but they could not cure some difficult injuries. At this time, Yang Chen's Merit Ganoderma Mushroom Jade Pill was the key to saving lives. In addition, the Broken Limb Regeneration Pill was really difficult to refine. Even the 7th grade alchemists of the major sect joined forces to refine it. The efficiency was extremely low. It was not that the purity of the medicinal materials in the early stage was not enough, or there was a problem in the later stage of refining. In short, the success rate was extremely low. Now everyone was looking forward to Master Yang Chen refining a few more furnaces of elixirs. The palace master was also pressed by all kinds of favors. There was no way, he could only let Yang Chen take action. Gong Sunling and the third primordial spirit were working hard to refine the Devil Realm, according to the previous nibbling method, little by little. The effect was very outstanding. In just a few years, it had integrated the territory of 100 miles, and the connection between the Mountain River geographical map and the Devil Realm was becoming closer. A few years was not enough for the aborigines in the Mountain River geographical map to pass the Thunder Tribulation one by one. There was no way, the number was too many, tens of billions, even if it could let thousands of cultivators cross the tribulation at the same time, it could not withstand such a number. However, Yang Chen found something related to the demonized monsters in the interval of refining the elixir. The Mountain River geographical map swallowed the Devil Realm, and naturally would not let go of the demonized monsters of the Devil Realm. Some of the monsters were lucky not to be killed by the women, but were refined into the mortal world. These demonized monsters, who had been invaded by the demonic energy and had lost their active consciousness, were outstanding and triggered the tribulation one by one. Even without active consciousness, the monsters of the Devil Realm could easily pass the Thunder Tribulation by instinct alone. As soon as the Thunder Tribulation passed, Gong Sunling and the third primordial spirit immediately discovered that these demonized monsters had recovered some of their sanity. This was a huge discovery. Although these demonized monsters had only passed the Thunder Tribulation and recovered a little of their sanity, which was a little stronger than having only instinct, this was also a substantial change after all. Then, Gong Sunling and the third primordial spirit couldn't wait to drop the Yin Fire Tribulation and baptize these demonized monsters. Sure enough, after experiencing the Yin Fire Tribulation, these demonized monsters had completely recovered their sanity and could barely be regarded as a normal monster cultivator. Since they wanted to experiment, of course they had to do the whole set. After the Yin Fire Tribulation was the Wind Tribulation. The specially selected powerful demonized monsters did not put the Wind Tribulation in their eyes and easily passed all the mortal world's heavenly tribulations. After passing the Wind Tribulation, they naturally ascended involuntarily. After these demonized monsters ascended, they had completely become normal monsters. In addition to everything just relying on instinct, there was no difference in other aspects. The Heaven's Tribulation also had such a role, which Yang Chen did not expect. But this was great news for Gong Sunling and the Mountain River geographical map. The number of demonized monsters in the Devil Realm was much more than that of the aborigines in the Mountain River geographical map. The area was larger and there were more outstanding cultivators above the human immortal level. If all these demonized monsters in the Devil Realm could be included in the scope of the Mountain River geographical map, I am afraid that the power of the Mountain River geographical map would reach an unimaginable and incredible level. Chapter 21-24. Although the ascended demonized monster beast still carried a strong demonic energy, the demonic energy could no longer affect it. With an active mind, it could actually be called him. Although they had not learned the systematic inheritance of the monster race cultivation, everyone understood how strong this kind of monster cultivator, who only relied on instinct to cultivate to this state, was. Especially in a place like the Devil Realm, it was not easy to survive. How could Yang Chen be willing to let such powerful monsters fend for themselves in the Mountain River geographical map? He could not wait to grab them and join his own sect to strengthen his own strength. It must be known that their Devil Realm was without a sect. At this time, whoever was the first to rope them in would be able to take the biggest advantage. Fatty Jing, Ho Yun, the Old Tree Demon, Shi Kuei, Xie Sha, and Lan Ing were all sent to the Mountain River geographical map by Yang Chen. He asked them to set up their own sect and take the inheritance of monster race cultivation from the Three River Alliance, Blood Killing Sect, Thousand Demon Sect, Mysterious Heaven Sect, and other places to accept these monster race masters. In the Mountain River geographical map, these monster race masters would inevitably be affected by the will of Gong Sunling. Moreover, in the first half of their lives, these monster race masters have been in a state of chaos. When did they ever have such care from a sect? After tasting this feeling, these monster race masters easily became members of Chunyang Palace's Hall of Eccentric. At first, their sense of identity must be very poor. Everyone knew it without asking. He believed that after a long time, they would truly identify with Chunyang Palace and integrate into it, becoming a real member of Chunyang Palace. In addition to the inheritance of the monster race, Yang Chen also got some real demonic cultivator's inheritance from Big Brother Li Qing. The demonic energy was a problem after all. These demonized monsters were obviously the most suitable candidates to absorb the demonic energy. In the future, the balance of the Mountain River geographical map would depend on them. In the Mountain River geographical map, there were cultivators crossing the tribulation all the time in the mortal world. The Mountain River geographical map was strengthening all the time, and the ability to refine the Devil Realm was increasing. The scope of the whole world was also expanding, and at the same time, Gong Sunling's cultivation was constantly growing. Gong Sunling had now fallen into the same trouble as Yang Chen in the past. Her cultivation was growing too fast, and she had to forcibly suppress it. It was a very happy trouble. The other women, including Madame Bai, were constantly killing in the Devil Realm. Sometimes their killing made Yang Chen distressed. Not distressed for the women's hard work, but distressed for the demonized monsters killed by them. It was not distressing for the women's hard work, but distressing for the demonized monsters killed by them. Of course, these were just Yang Chen's self-deprecating joke. There were too many demonized monsters in the demon realm, so many that Gong Sunling might have a headache in the future. Everyone's arrangements were very good, and Yang Chen was also very relieved. He began to refine pills according to the requirements of the master of the palace. Everyone arranged well, and Yang Chen was also very relieved. He began to refine pills according to the requirements of the master of the palace. The 6th grade merit Ganoderma lucidum jade pill was the most convenient for Yang Chen to refine. He first refined thousands of pills, so that the master of the palace would not be urged by others. The broken limb regeneration pill used to be more laborious for Yang Chen, but now it was different. On the one hand, Yang Chen did not have the shackles of the golden immortal tribulation in his sea of consciousness. On the other hand, Yang Chen's cultivation base had been improved. With the two-pronged approach, it was much easier for Yang Chen to refine. However, in Yang Chen's mind, The broken limb regeneration pill that he had previously taken out was not perfect enough. If the meridians of the severed limb had grown well, there would be a 100% chance that it would be unable to regenerate or deformed. The current temporary solution was to cut off the severed limb and retake the medicine to regenerate it. Although this method was no different from before after the regeneration of the severed limb and completely solved the problem of the severed limb disability, after all, it was still necessary to let these disabled people suffer another knife. From the perspective of a doctor and alchemist, this was imperfect. After directly refining 2 furnaces of the broken limb regeneration pill, Yang Chen handed the medicinal pills to the master of the palace, but he returned to the Dragon Palace to continue to study the perfect pill recipe of the broken limb regeneration pill. In the past, Yang Chen had already thought about how to perfect it, but most of it required a higher level of alchemist to achieve, at least to have the strength of an 8th-grade alchemist in the immortal world. If this was the solution, it could be said that Yang Chen did not solve any problems at all. Because the immortal world already had the 8th-grade medicinal pill that could regenerate the severed limb, no matter how much Yang Chen studied it, it was nothing more than picking up the wisdom of others. If Yang Chen wanted to refine the perfect broken limb regeneration pill, and if he wanted to become an outstanding alchemist master, he must make a breakthrough on this basis. Therefore, the limit of the perfect broken limb regeneration pill should be within the scope that a 7th-grade alchemist master could solve. This was Yang Chen's breakthrough on the broken limb regeneration pill, and it was also a breakthrough that Yang Chen was better than in his previous life. The 6 masters surnamed Long had been in the Dragon Palace, adapting to the entanglement and restraint of the green jade dragon and the blood-eating phantom vine. After so many years, they had been able to move freely. As long as they had time, it would not be a problem to fight with the dragon grass. These masters of the dragon clan had a very long lifespan. It was not known how many vicissitudes of life had changed, and they knew a lot of things. When Yang Chen couldn't think of a solution for the time being, he chatted with them, trying to find some suitable breakthroughs from their knowledge. Master Yang Chenyang, a famous alchemist in the spiritual world, asked them for advice on alchemy, which made the masters surnamed Long simply happy. They had too much faith. All of them wished that they could immediately help Yang Chen think of the crux of the problem and solve it. They were even more diligent than Princess Aolan's instructions. You said that the problem is mainly because the meridians that have grown well have changed, which is why it is like this. In that case, can't you just think of a way to restore the changed meridians to normal? Although Long Yuan had been taught a lesson by Yang Chen in the beginning, he didn't seem to hold any grudges now. Afraid that he was not being proactive enough, he was the first to speak up. How could Yang Chen not know about this problem? It was precisely because he couldn't change this situation that he was vexed. It was fine for a new wound, but as long as it had grown well for a few years, there would always be such a problem. Long Yuan's suggestion was as good as not saying anything. Who didn't know that? Don't think about regrowing the severed limbs first. Suppose there are no severed limbs and there is only a large wound on the body that is not recovering well enough, causing the meridians to grow crooked. How should we solve this problem? The oldest of the masters, surnamed Long, who was wrapped in a thick vine cocoon, asked a hypothetical question. I'm afraid that just relying on elixirs is not enough. The cultivator needs to take the initiative to cultivate and then use spiritual energy to open up the deviated meridians. Yang Chen thought for a while and answered honestly, after the meridians are opened up, they will slowly return to normal as one cultivates. Isn't that fine? Old Long asked straightforwardly. Can't you think about how to solve this problem?